early morning, grab my breakfast on the run, head downtown and look for fun. Well, I'm an outlaw on the run. Well, I'm an outlaw, baby, with a big black gun.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BeerDad and Brewed podcast, brought to you by the Craft Lounge, Beaumont, California, just north of the 10 freeway on Beaumont Avenue. Head on in and see our homie Jimmy. Tell him the BeerDad and Brewed podcast sent you, and he will hook you up and give you an amazing experience because they have the best selection of craft beer in all of the Inland Empire. Go see Jimmy, the Craft Lounge.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. I like to give him a hard time.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is the BeerDad, Justin Allen, as always, hanging out, drinking some beers, having a good time, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tons and Kettles, also known as Mr. Bachelor's Degree. Oh, no. Congratulations, Brandon.
Oh, geez.
I was there. I embarrassed you. I yelled really loud in the crowd.
You did, and I looked over at you, and I was like, yeah, right on. That's my boy.
That's awesome. But it was great hanging out with your family. But congratulations again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
you worked hard.
that. Thank you.
So that's awesome.
We'll do it again. We get to do it again in a year for my master's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my master's in post instruction should be shortly.
Sick.
After that, hopefully. We'll see. I got about another year or so.
Let's do it.
But where are we?
We're at the hoppiest place on earth.
Ooh, I like that. The hoppiest place on earth.
I totally thought about that prior to me. I swear. I was like,
somebody's smiling right now.
I was like, yo, what am I going to say? Because I have to make this good. So yeah, we're here at the hoppiest place on earth in a little place called Anaheim, California.
Wow. You mean we're like literally on the doorsteps of the House of the Mouse?
We are, yes.
Oh, okay.
House of the I don't know, awesome beers.
That too.
I don't know.
Because we're inside the House of Awesome Beers.
That's right.
Because we are at
legendary
something. Well, we're going to geek out because we're excited about this. But we are at Bottle Logic in Anaheim, California. How cool is that?
Oh man, it's so cool.
And we are here with Lindsay. What's up, Lindsay?
Hey, friends. So rad to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you for having us out.
Seriously, thank you so much.
We were so looking forward to this. Brandon and myself always, we love Bottle Logic beer, and to actually come here and be in person and sit down and talk to you about all the amazing things that's going on here. I'm looking at some cool looking beers here and some interesting new items that you guys have that we're going to talk about. But yes, thanks again for having us.
Totally my pleasure. Yeah, we've got a full spread to put down today, guys.
Very
so
colorful.
Putting a lot of faith in you
so
here.
Stoked. Oh yes.
I have the Brandon take some pictures of all that.
Yeah, no, I definitely will.
But yeah, we're excited to be here. Bottle Logic, you guys, I don't know the address offhand, but I can tell everybody you can get here off the 91 freeway, hang a right on, what is that, Kramer Glassell exit, go north, make a left on La Palma, and then it's
1072 North Armando Street.
Nice.
There we go. 1072 North Armando Street is where you'll find Bottle Logic, tucked away here in Anaheim. Great little spot, especially if you're coming to visit the House of the Mouse. You definitely got to hit this place up. Well, Lindsay, speaking of the House of the Mouse, this is where you kind of got some experience from. Tell us about where you used to work.
What a lead-in. Yeah, man. So I came to Bottle Logic in 2014. I was the second hire that the team of 3 owners made. Came on as a beer tender and was running the tasting room a couple weeks after that. And then have been in really so many facets of the company and am now the creative director. So
Tell us your real title.
Okay, well, before season 8, my real title was Lord Commander.
There we go.
And then season 8 just shit the bed. I'm like, why would I hold on to it? I'm heartbroken still.
Yeah.
But we had a good run with some Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, before coming to Bottle Logic, I put in a decade with the House of Mouse, as it were. Started as a tour guide and did a lot of friendly, open hands, open heart gestures.
Hi, friends.
Yep. Howdy, y'all. Then from there, I popped over into the fine dining side of the resort.
Nice.
I ran the floor at Napa Rose, which is the signature restaurant in the Grand Californian.
Mm-hmm. Been there many times.
Yeah, a lot
Probably
of
saw you
incredible
there.
stuff. Honestly, probably. And then started doing the sommelier courses there. So
nice.
Disney affords graciously cast members in premium service locations these tests or the courses first, and then also pay for like exorbitantly expensive tests, which is just incredible. And so I specifically popped to the Napa Rose wanting to further my own education in viticulture and viniculture, and had an incredible time doing that. Made just like lifelong friends, some of whom I later trapped into working with me here at the brewery. And then had a cool opportunity to open a new premier dining location that became Carthay Circle inside of Grand Californian. Dude, okay, here's the trick. If you go there, I don't think James works there anymore. I think he transferred to Club 33, but order the Screwball.
Screwball.
I don't remember what's in it, but it's fabulous. It's bourbon based, and it's basically a Derby Day drink without being a mojito or something obnoxiously sweet.
Okay. Screwball. Yeah. I'm going to remember that because that's usually my little like when I want to feel fancy and get away from everything, I'll go in there.
Carthay definitely ticks
get
that
my
itch,
old fashioned
right?
or something like that. Yeah. No, I love
those
that place.
Ice Sphere Manhattans.
Damn, I don't feel fancy anymore.
No, see, I don't ever feel fancy. I mean, you know me. I rock the flannels and the jeans. I'm not very fancy, but every once in a while I'll treat myself in there. And it's what I find crazy is like the drinks in there that like legit, but price wise like almost on par with like beers and other cocktails outside of the. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend that, I might as well spend it in here.
Yeah.
And sit down and relax and enjoy. And actually,
there's air conditioning.
Food in there's good
all
too.
Sorts of perks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. Especially when it's hot.
Yeah. Yeah. So. The same chef, and not to just make this a Disney podcast now, but
the
same chef who builds the menu for Carthay Circle is the chef who built Napa Rose. So Disney sought Andrew Sutton out from Auberge du Soleil up in Napa and basically built him the Napa Rose.
Nice.
And then he's gone on to kind of take more and more interest in different pieces of the resort and really kind of elevate their food game and their local vendor game. We were talking as we were pouring some beers earlier in the tasting room how I thought it was so impressive that Disney has become, or Disneyland I should specify, has become such a cool place for really local craftspeople or food makers, beer makers to showcase their stuff at these like festivals they put on once a quarter, twice a year.
I feel like it's starting to get to like 2 to 3 times a year. It's like a different type of event, which is great.
Yeah.
Super rad.
I mean, I'm sure they make a killing on it. Mm-hmm. So, but it's so cool to
mostly
be
from
tapped.
my wife. And my pocketbook.
Yeah.
It's so cool to be tapped and like featured on a stage like that. And for Bottle Logic, we've been super fortunate to have been able to like create some unique beers for the resort. Tropical Hideaway, one of our smoothie sours, is richly inspired by that Dole Whip flavor.
That's like literally the beer that needs to be in Disneyland.
It's
Seriously,
right?
yeah,
Right.
100%.
Yeah. I'm like, this is perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect, as like the TikTok says.
Yeah, so from wine and fine dining, I jumped into beer. I met Steve and Brandon and Wes, who are respectively our president, one of our brand managers, and Wes is our brewmaster. Yeah. So Bottle Logic came together in Wes's garage, as these things often do, where he had this SS Brewtech system and was like making glycol jackets for his own tiny fermenters. Like he was running a nano brewery out of his garage, like full-fledged serious business. Like, and then you reach a threshold where it's like, is this hobby something that could pay for itself? How interesting could that be?
Because we should probably start thinking about that, because if not, then it's just going to...
Yeah, right. That's even a very expensive use of time.
That's right.
Totally.
Yeah. Brandon, you would know a lot about that because you're heavy in the homebrew.
Yeah, no, totally. I know how it goes, but me, I don't know. I'm the type of person, I'm like, okay, I have what works and I know how, the ins and outs.
Totally.
So I'm like, I'm going to utilize it, to my best abilities.
Yeah.
And my system's not crazy by any means, but
It makes good beer.
It does make
That's all
good
that
beer.
matters.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know. I think there's so much innovation that springs from like, well, I have this and I have that, and I'm missing the go-between. How clever can we be here, right? Like,
Right.
how can we solve a problem in a way that is viable, but then can we make it fascinating also?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's
Once you
like
get past
just the creative side with Josh. Like
Right.
a lot of things that he taught me in brewing, and probably yourself as well. Is like he could. Oh man, I don't have this ingredient to make this.
We used to call him the
Kunkel.
beer MacGyver.
Totally.
He was the
Yeah,
beer
he's,
MacGyver.
he's gonna
yeah.
make the Kunkel Dunkel, and he didn't have the right yeast or hop or something. He's like, I'm gonna take these two, put them together, and it's gonna
Right.
be the same.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
It was rad. Man.
Yeah,
Like,
for science, go
Yeah.
for it.
Oh yeah.
I remember brewing a beer with him. We did a Scottish wee heavy with a pretty interesting hops called Vajvodina, and we also used a little bit. My influence was to dry hop it with Strata, which I thought was really cool. I was kind of going for kind of an interesting, like obscure flavor profile, almost like a strawberry swisher, almost.
That's
But-
exactly what because it
That
came
is
out.
very
It had,
specific.
it
right,
had the
and so
cigar
it
flavor.
It
Did
really
you hit
did.
it?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Sick.
Totally.
Nice job.
And
That
I
was
was,
a cool beer.
I was like, and I still had some actually.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
I think
some sitting
Tori
in a
will have
keg.
to ask her. I think she might have a keg of it too at
Wild.
her house.
So yeah, it's one of those little heavy hitters that you just keep around, you know.
Right.
Just,
Yeah, when the time is right.
right, and it holds a special place in my heart too.
And it's always best served in an Aquafina bottle.
Totally. Oh yeah, so I want to tell you. So the first time we got to try it, well, because he split the keg, so it was a 10-gallon batch, and Josh split both the kegs. And actually, I got a little 3.5er, like the little guy, and it was funny because he brought a sample to the podcast. We were doing a Christmas episode. Oh, it was the Christmas episode,
Yeah.
and so we had all the beers there, and he puts it on the table. I was like, what the hell is that? It was a Smart Water bottle with a CO2 like
Charge on it.
Yeah, charge
Yeah.
on it. Yeah, we
Leave it to Josh.
thought it was so funny,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was the type
Good
of guy he
memories.
was, man. Just like
That's
total
awesome.
like innovator.
Yeah.
So
That's what I
Super
love
awesome.
about brewing. And, as far as the brewing goes here, the progression of this company has been
Dude.
outstanding. I
Thank
mean,
you.
what I find cool, and you guys probably think it's really neat, is when you see Instagram posts or Untapped check-ins like in other countries.
Dude,
How
yes.
cool
that's
is
so
that?
awesome.
Oh my God,
right?
it's
Yeah,
wild.
I love that. For all my friends in brewing, I'm like, that's probably one of the pinnacles of like, wow, that my beer in Japan?
Right.
What?
Right. Yeah. We have so many just absolutely ardent fans in the Netherlands. And it's
Yeah.
like
Sick.
I'm not putting beer there, and it's like I can't imagine how unaffordable it probably is to get those bottles.
So
And
trades,
and
it
I
has to be like right.
I God, I hope so.
Well, the other thing too, I guess because a lot of the especially with the bottles, most of us cellar them anyways and
Right.
hang on to them,
Yeah.
so they can sit. But I know
Right.
when you ship over there and they go through, they sit in customs for months.
Mhm.
So it's like, man,
yeah.
you're just like playing that gambit.
But what better beers though?
That's right.
Than your
Yes.
barley wines and
Sure. Things that can stand,
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
stand shipment,
Stouts and
stand
things, yeah.
temperature swings. But then I
that's the main concern.
yeah,
right?
right. My primary concern is if people are going to all of this trouble to get a hold of this liquid, God, I hope it's the best damn liquid that they have ever consumed.
Seriously.
I don't think you have an issue.
Oh, I want it. I want it to be what leaves the brewery, right? Because we
Yeah.
build it with
I
so much
agree.
intention.
Right.
I don't want it to get there and have been jostled or become oxidized or any number of terrible things that could afflict the liquid.
Just don't want the
And then
perception to be muddled.
people's
Yeah.
and then people are like, "This is what people are on about."
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because there are many factors to preserving beer and its shelf life and what kind of off flavors can occur, like you said, oxidation or just light stricken or whatever.
Totally,
I know
totally.
with cans that you don't have to worry about that. So a lot of your beers are can, and then in the bottles they leave very little room for light infection. So
I say for the most part, people that send stuff and do like these trades and heavy into that kind of stuff, they're pretty good about packing
Right,
it.
right. Yeah.
They're
Oh,
not
yeah.
they're not professionals, but
I mean, very near. Yeah, it's easy to tell that the people who love it are going to treat it
right.
as they would their own.
Yeah.
Best
And-
case scenario.
And
Totally.
the people sending it are the ones that are like, oh man, they love Bottle Logic. They want to spread the love to
Sure.
other people.
seriously,
Even though we're not supposed to.
I didn't hear anything. I don't listen. Where am I? Who are
Right?
you?
we don't do that.
No.
Wink.
I feel like it's more, well, it's funny because, and it should be treated the same way, but people are allowed to do it with wine. I mean, wine trade and stuff like that.
I
It
mean,
should be on the same level.
lobbyists that the wine industry has are doing a bang up job.
are.
Like, how do we get y'all rooting for us?
For beer, yes.
I mean, pretty
Shoot.
soon it's going to be legal for school teachers to drink wine in the classroom.
God,
like,
please.
They need it.
Honestly.
Seriously.
But yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. So let's talk about Bottle Logic a little bit more. You kind of told us like how the brewer got started and everything, and then how you got started. You were smuggled away from Disney,
Basically.
But as far as like the grand scheme of things, the name and the branding and all that, where did that come from?
Sure. Oh man, listen. This is a rad job, and things I do every day are totally absurd and ridiculous in just like, I don't know, dream territory.
Yeah.
So when I say that one of my favorite parts of working here is working with Josh, our graphic designer, like I hope that carries the gravity that I think it does, because this human is just extraordinary. So I will give him just like brain dump. This is everything that I'm thinking about for this label, for this beer. And he turns it, like spins it into gold, like coherent gold, which really turns out is the name of the game. And he has done all of our art since the very beginning, like even from letterhead, logos, choosing typefaces for us, choosing color schemes. He had done some, he's almost like a beer industry specific artist, but I think that's probably limiting to him at this point. Yeah. But he'd done work for Uinta, Grimm Brothers, Copper Muse, Speakeasy. Oh gosh, who is the earthquake one?
Seismic?
Yes, Seismic.
Right
yeah, thank you. So when we were putting together this, maybe we're going to open a brewery plan, Steve, Wes, and Brandon traveled extensively throughout the States and went to other breweries to research what's going on, which, this job is so hard and taxing.
It looks like it. Yeah.
But they visited all of these places and would take notes because we're all data junkies here, which is terribly convenient as it turns out. And something that they had kind of found this common thread in between breweries they visited was like, this art from Speakeasy seems set apart. This art at Grimm Brothers seems set apart, and basically connected the dots with all of this art that they loved. Yeah. And it was, surprise, Josh. Yeah. So what an incredible asset he's been for us, and helping me and all of us really shape this story and the look of who we are. Yeah. I've said this before, I think on a different interview, but people think that we're an enormous brewery, and we're clawing at like 4,000 barrels of production annually, but people think we're huge because our art looks so tight, right? Yeah. And I'm like, is this a blessing or a curse? I'm not sure, but God, I don't think we'd be as recognized as we are if we didn't look the way we did, thanks to Josh. So totally. I couldn't praise him enough.
Good job, Josh. Well, not just good, amazing job, because we love the artwork, like whether it be on the bottle, like I like the little subtle things like you see on bottles.
Yeah.
Dude, totally.
It just like little hints at things, and then like
even the shape of the bottles, like the Stasis bottles and the cocktails.
So he's got like the really intricate, super info packed Stasis labels, which is like all about information design and making that coherent and pleasant for your eye to move around and digest. And then he's got like full illustrations, like the Campy Creatures cans, all of those gorgeous like old school horror monsters, and just what a vision.
I like the work that he does in kind of like the horror genre as well. Like I follow his Instagram page. And
Netflix tapped him to do some Stranger Things stuff. And I was like, please don't forget me.
That's so dope.
Yes. You got to do like a Stranger Stout or something.
Dude, right. Yeah. I walked that line.
Netflix, strike that from the record.
Excuse me. Hello. Sorry. Yeah.
The Stasis bottles always remind me of like, like space.
Yeah.
Like
definitely
exploring space, like the NASA kind of vibe is very like clean and symmetrical, and and the cool pairings and stuff like that. And it has a very nice nuance to it.
Yeah.
We're definitely coming at all of this as like how do we be more than just liquid? Like the liquid has to be great. Without great liquid, I don't know. Well,
because you can have
gotta
cool
get that.
can art and people will buy it because of the can art, but
That's
then once
the
they
beauty,
taste
though.
it, then they're done.
The beauty is that
Right.
it matches it, though.
Right.
Thank you.
That's-
Thank you.
That
Yeah.
definitely needs to be.
Yeah, I love that like
showcase for sure.
1950s like comic like
Totally. We try
powerful
to-
like woman characters and like, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
Eve is kind of our and not necessarily mascot, but she's a character that we come back to, and she is someone who we really kind of sealed the deal in Josh becoming our full-time artist in residence, because we pitched this to him of like, we want a strong character that people can relate to. We want to bring beer out of a fully masculine state.
Totally.
We want her to be a badass. We're going to be very careful not to sexualize her. She's not just
Right.
in a bikini for the sake of being in a bikini, you know? Like she's exploring.
action hero.
Right.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And a
she's
human being.
Indiana Jones
Yeah.
meets
And a
Ada
badass human being.
Lovelace
Right.
meets like, yeah. She's inventing and she's solving problems and she's going on adventures and seeking out new ingredients and kind of revolutionizing her own space, which is pretty sweet.
I love
I
it.
love that. That's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool too to see because I think the brewing industry in general needs more of it because, well, I mean, you're one of the badass women in brewing,
yeah.
right? And it's cool to see that, you know, more people are stepping out and
Yeah.
recognizing and acknowledging women in brewing, and it definitely needs to happen because why? You guys have great taste.
Exactly.
Yeah, so-
I mean, like there's a whole other half of a population that could
absolutely.
Seriously.
enjoy your product
Well,
if
it's
you
like-
can make that door open.
Yeah, it's like my wife, for example. Many years, I don't like beer. I don't drink beer. I don't want it. Nope, don't give it to me. Right? Where's her favorite place to go now? King's Brewing.
Awesome.
And like, you know, and that's just, it's crazy. And why? Because they made a beer that will bring people in that don't normally like what we're
Totally.
sipping on. We'll talk about here in a second.
Since you mentioned that, I have to say shout out to my girlfriend Jasmine because this is her favorite brewery.
Oh, she's got
yeah.
impeccable taste.
Yeah, she does. No, seriously.
Did you tease her with that little flight picture right there?
Yeah, I actually will send that to her. But yeah, she was here with us on Sunday, and so she was like, "All right, I'm just doing stouts." I'm like,
She had a whole
course,
flight of
course.
stouts.
That's her jam. Like,
Hell yeah.
Yeah. She wasn't driving. She didn't care. Yeah.
Man, this is a total tangent, but it's such a funny story. So we're talking about women being comfortable in beer and finding new things or finding something that suits them outside of like beer flavored Homer Simpson Duff beer, right?
Right.
And we go up to this festival every year called Bluesapalooza up in Mammoth.
Oh yeah.
And it's so fun. And it's like you're in a forest and there's incredible blues musicians behind you, like no better
Yes.
setting.
Yes.
But the crowd there is a little older and they're like the
Different.
kind of vacation home Mammoth types. And it's fun. It's always fun to see new people or people you don't typically see trying your product. And so we had this magical grandma lady come over to our booth and we were pouring Stronger Than Fiction, which is a
Sick.
bourbon barrel aged strong ale.
Yes.
Like 12, 13%, depending on the year. And we run that through fresh coconut, toasted coconut, and coffee beans. And she's chatting with me about what she might want to try. And I ask, like, it's easy to ask questions that'll help beer tenders understand what sort of product is the right product to match with the palate, right? And so we're talking about like, well, do you like bitterness? Do you like sweet things? Do you like fruit? Do you like coffee? And she's like, yeah, ding, 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 coffee. I'm like, okay, like toffee flavors, coconut things. And I hand her a sip of this strong ale and she lost her mind. And then she went and found her like a clan of grandmas and she came back and raged with us. And it was unbelievable. It was so cool because it's just like,
That's
you
freaking
gotta
awesome.
give,
So
you
rad.
gotta give people a bridge in and
Totally.
then they're stoked to hang.
Yeah. That's
Totally.
awesome.
I understand that 100%. I have that conversation every day.
Totally.
You know, when I talk to people and I say, you know, what kind of beer do you like? You know, they say, well, I like this beer. I say, cool. Well, let's see what I can find in your wheelhouse. So I usually pour like, you know, 1 or 2 to 3 different, samples of whatever we have on tap. And
Right.
sometimes I'll actually recommend cans or bottles and I'll crack them. I'll say like, hey, if you don't like it, then it's on me.
Sure.
But if you want it, then
Yeah.
then I just want to
you're
make your
developing
experience
such a rad relationship with that customer too,
Absolutely.
because they're going to come back to you again and again because you're not judging them. You're not gatekeeping is overused probably, but like you're giving them an avenue into something they want to be in, want to
And
be
I want
Yeah, they're there
to be
for a
part of it.
reason.
And you want them to be
100%.
there. Yeah, totally.
Because we want to see the community grow.
Totally.
Everyone is welcome.
Yeah,
That-
it's definitely all symbiotic.
That's like my thing is whenever someone tells me either A, they don't like beer, or B, like my sister-in-law, I only like Budweiser. She hates when I do that.
There's a pleasant time.
But
Let me
that's
some
like challenge
red heavy.
accepted to me. Like this
Totally.
is what I
Oh,
do.
totally.
This is my hobby. This is what I do. I will find something. So I got my wife hooked, and then my sister-in-law, a random brewery, and I actually think they might have went out of business, which is sad. But they're in is it Pfister or Carlsbad, the one with the space theme.
They were called. I said it the other day. Wavelength Brewing.
Wavelength,
in Vista.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were there, and it was cool. Whole family was there. We were playing board games in the brewery, and she's just like, you're not gonna find something I like. You're not. I just like Budweiser. And lo and behold, Game of Thrones reference. They had a White Walker Belgian Ale, and she loved it.
To
Oh,
jump
yeah.
to Belgian from an
loved it.
American corn
Yes.
lager
I love
is
that.
Yes,
crazy.
and I was like, America. I just did it. I did.
Mission accomplished.
I did it. Like I was so happy, and she was like, I really like this. I'm gonna have another one. I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
I'm like,
Look at that.
score. And then slowly but surely, I've been able to find other ones too that she likes. Obviously she's a Budweiser drinker, and good segue from that is to talk about what we're sipping on right now, or what we started with.
Sure.
Just to kind of get warmed up here. This is a beautiful Helles Lager.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
What is it? What are we calling this today?
This is Heliosphere. This clock's very friendly 4.8%.
Beautiful.
This has got a traditional 6 weeks long lager time, and it is crystal clear, beautiful and
Yes.
pristine. This is something that we release, just on the edge of summer. So this is a fresh selection for you here.
Keep
gentlemen.
pouring it as it's still warm here in Southern California.
And
Yeah.
here in the tasting room, we just added 3. I think we just ordered our 4th. But we added 3 Lucre faucets. And so if you see breweries doing these like Ladinka pours or the, gosh, you guys were out at Tripping. Maybe you saw the human
The milk-
robot people do
milk
the
pours.
milk tubes.
I had.
Yeah. I missed. My flight was the day after that, unfortunately. But it's so fun to see. Oh, Cohesion does this too.
Yes, in
out
Denver.
here.
I was
If
so
you
bummed
haven't
I
been there,
missed-
oh my god, you gotta get
I missed.
there.
We were in
So
Denver,
impressive.
and I was bummed
Jeremiah
that we
told us
missed
about
them.
it.
Yeah,
They're
really.
all like Czech style.
Yeah, gorgeous stuff.
We went to BeerDad a couple times though.
Hey, I
That-
mean,
yeah,
win in Rome.
Yeah,
Well,
shout out to BeerDad and
hopefully-
Cerebral. Awesome.
Hopefully
awesome
this year we might be a little GABF. And
I hope so.
I hope.
That's awesome.
We'll see if we can pull that together. So,
But that's awesome. You guys
because
got 'em in
we're
the tap room.
media. So
Yeah.
It seems legit.
try
We're
to-
just we're just a couple
dorks that like
people
beer.
in front of microphones that get the pleasure of interviewing awesome people like yourself.
Right, exactly. But yeah, the love the presentation and the Czech style mugs here,
Yeah.
and you guys got the proper handle to pour it with.
Totally.
It's really cool. So if you
Totally.
guys are into that kind of stuff, which I know a lot of our listeners are,
Yeah.
you got to come check it out.
I think it's really fun. Sorry, I don't mean
Oh no, totally. You're fine.
I think it's really fun to be doing really authentic style, like
Yeah.
I said before, kind of beer flavored beer,
Yeah.
traditional things in this space where a lot of people know us as kind of extremists with our adjuncting, which has been an incredible part of our life cycle. But I think, moderation in all things, including moderation.
Right.
And to be able to show what our team can do, like it's such a perhaps obvious thing to say in that you can really judge the caliber, the cleanliness, the technique of your production team when you're drinking lagers. Like you can hide all manner of sins behind a double IPA monster hop palate burning bitterness thing, behind 4 tons of coconut and cacao nibs, right? But if you've got a lager that is pristine and crystal clear and is everything that style should be, like that's a good place to start making some assessments.
Absolutely.
We have this conversation
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah,
So,
it's
well, we
one of
talk
my favorite
about-
things to talk about.
A lot of times when we go to a brewery, that's like one of the first things that we have to try.
Sure.
And not today because I already know the beers are good here. But
Yeah.
but that's just because I like light beer. But I was telling Brandon the other day, and I won't mention the brewery's name, but I was at a brewery and I ordered their lager, and oh my gosh, it was horrible. I was so sad because I'm like, man, because like you said, if you can't do that, then what's the other beers hiding, masking,
Yeah.
But it was I was like, okay, so it's lager. I poured it and it was okay, not clear like this, and it was like syrupy and sweet, and I was like,
And Pilsner is really hard to that malt in particular is really hard to mass diacetyl.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
You'll have butter popcorn
Man.
all day, and so if you don't lager for long enough and do diacetyl rest and the whole 9 yards, but dude, like there's other breweries too that we've been to, and they like admire us for their like they kind of like see what beers we're going to order first, and then later they'll be like, okay, you guys are cool. You guys ordered the ESB and the light lager.
Who was it? Marco. Shout out to Marco at Unseen Creatures.
Heck yeah.
Oh man, I love those
They're
guys.
so cool.
So he when we showed up, that was the first show that we did when we got to Miami. Right off of a red eye, hadn't slept
For forever.
And we showed up and we went and got beers before we started setting up, and he was sitting down doing some paperwork, and he's kind of watching us. And Brandon over here, you ordered the
Is there light American lager?
the light American lager, and I ordered the ESB. And so he was just like, those are my kind of guys, and he didn't realize that we were there for the podcast.
Oh,
'cause
sure.
He just talked to. He hasn't seen our faces,
Got
and
it.
so he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, no, yeah,
Yeah, you
So he's
proved
like,
your legitimacy right out of the gate. Well done.
I'm a sucker for ESB just because you don't see it very often.
Sure.
So like anytime I go to a brewery, I don't care if it's a brewery I don't really care for. If they have ESB, I usually order it and give it a chance because it's a style you don't see very often.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate it because I like that cast style, old English style brewing. Just because of the it's as a brewer, it's not something easy to make, right?
Not at all.
No. So
And being well versed as Unseen Creatures, like you said yourself, like Bottle Logic is all across the board, like
great.
knocking it down. Like
you.
seriously,
Well,
like
and it's funny you say that because originally when I the only thing I ever had was their amazing stouts, right? And then I want to say, what was it? Remember that episode that we did and Josh almost like fell out of the chair?
oh, it was the
was a
collab you
collab.
guys did with and we picked it up from Pure Project actually.
The electric, your collab with Pure
It
Project.
was a Pure Project. It was an IPA. It was a 7 point something
How recently?
double dry.
was this?
It was like
a year and a half ago.
No, it was like 2 years ago. It was during COVID. Me and Jimmy went and picked up beer from Bottle Logic. Excuse me, we're at Bottle Logic.
Yeah,
I've had 2 of these lagers here,
You're right.
and then another one on top of that. Anyway,
It was a hazy IPA.
it was a hazy
Yeah.
IPA.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
So we picked it. It was kind of like a pink and like purple,
Yeah.
like kind of
Yeah.
like swirl can art. Yeah. So he was absolutely in love with that beer,
Cool.
and we loved it as well. We picked it up from
Yeah.
Pure Project.
Totally.
I was like,
And it was amazing.
Like, oh man, this is amazing. And then the first what was it that came in? Was it? I think it was a lager that you guys got in cans at the Craft Lounge.
Anamachi,
Oh,
and then
Hanamachi.
Recursion. But I remember the very first Bottle Logic beer. I have to sneak this in because I had to really, really think about this hard. Like, what was the very first Bottle Logic beer I ever had? And it was kind of crazy because the first one I ever had was Leche Baracho,
There you go.
2018. And so when I had that for the first time, I was just kind of like, I didn't even know what to think. I was just kind of like, my mind was blown. And then I was just like, all right, well, this is rad. I want to try more. And so I got to try more, like, going into like, what is it? Dark Star.
Yeah.
And then that, which is still to this day one of my all-time favorites.
Thank you.
And then checking out the different styles like Anamachi and Recursion, and then even like T-Cursion, which is like still one of my favorites. And shout out to my friend Chris Martin. He's a friend of the show. He's our Stone rep. He absolutely loves that beer. So
cool.
shout out.
Oh,
Little
it's nice to have
T-Cursion love.
praise from a gargoyle.
We'll have to talk
I love
wrestling.
that.
We're gonna have to
She
talk
called you a
wrestling just for
gargoyle,
him.
dude.
Yeah, the gargoyle.
Yeah, if you're looking for breaking news, I should have Leche Baracho again at the end of this year.
Ooh, I would love to check it out. In tequila barrels. That's such a gnarly beer, dude. Like,
Yeah, tequila and red wine.
What's
oh, this is so cool.
Brandon? What's the BeerDad's favorite?
Well, your favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know this.
Dude, there's so much.
We just talked about it the other night.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you asked me.
Well, I was here and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
it was
I
your
don't.
graduation night.
Oh man, I don't remember honestly.
It may or may not have something to do with Spaceballs.
Oh, Comb the Desert.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
cool. All right. Deep cut. I
Yeah.
was going to guess Jam the Radar first,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I still have I still have a bottle of Come to the Desert. This is
Cool.
the most recent.
I've only done
fine.
it once. Well,
That's
I've
my
only put it
favorite.
in bottles once.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
well,
drafted it twice.
oh, that's right.
before
That's
that.
right. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
the bottle still.
That's awesome.
And
It's a
I
beautiful
bought it for my
bottle.
girlfriend because she loves peanut butter and jelly, like
Well,
this guy. Yeah, the peanut
No,
butter
I
and
do.
jelly
And so
heads.
the funny thing is, this is how retarded I was that day. But the bottle, I just saw the name, and I bought it because of the name. Because I'm not
Cool.
worried about it not being good or anything.
Sure.
Because
Well, thank
it's
you.
Bottle Logic.
It's a very high vote of
But
confidence.
because I love Star Wars, but I also love Spaceballs.
Right?
And so I saw it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing this because I had Jam the Radar too.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
like,
dude,
I'm
one of my
doing this.
favorites.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute, it's peanut butter and freaking jelly. Like, this is the bomb, dude. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think something that's been so fun for us is to release a beer, and whether that is Fundamental or Dark Star or Recursion or Hanamachi, and then continue to riff on those.
Yeah.
We do, gosh, Jam the Radar and Comb the Desert are great examples of this. So let me backtrack so I can make sense here.
Absolutely.
So, Dark Star November was the first barrel aged beer that we did. We opened our tasting room the day after Valentine's Day in 2014. And it had been licensed since, I don't know, in the middle of 2013. And that was in like the government shutdown period. And that was a fun time to try to license an alcohol
Right.
production facility.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, cool. Anyway, but we had Dark Star that we brewed and put in barrels probably 6 or 7 months before we even
Yeah.
opened the tasting room. And so that was something that people continue to care about. It's become an annual release for us, and it's an unadjuncted beer. So it's fun to have something to come back to as a tentpole, as kind of a this is who we are under all of the marshmallows. But it's also a recipe that we have iterated and iterated and iterated on with the build itself, with our
Yeah.
grain selections. In the last couple of years, we've tweaked our gravity as we see kind of, I don't know, what we jokingly in-house call the Florida effect of people wanting these like super viscous, monster syrup, chewy stouts. But we've taken Dark Star down the Jam the Radar path, and then from Jam the Radar, we iterate it into Comb the Desert. Dark Star that we started not quite double mashing, but like 1.5 mashing has become the root of other projects. That's the root of Ghost Proton, which is like the s'mores super, man, that became like a crazy cult hit during the pandemic. And that was fun. And then if we're doing full proper double mash of the Dark Star recipe, that becomes Scatter Signal, and that gets released every other year these days.
Yeah.
So like iterating and seeing what people are enjoying and fascinated by, and then in turn seeing like, how can we push the envelope? Like if this, then that, and how does it become more fascinating?
Right.
What can we do?
Yeah. I love that you guys push the envelope, and like it's like when you come up with what I think's funny, like when Jimmy gets the bottles in stock, I'll look at them, and a lot of re-releases of our favorites and stuff like that. But then some of the new stuff that comes out, you're like, okay, what more are they going to put in these beers?
Right.
Thank goodness you guys haven't gone the Martin House route, because they do really like insane stuff with like ranch dressing and buffalo wing sauce. Not a fan of that kind of
I've had
stuff.
one of the buffalo wings
Yeah.
ones.
Can't do it. Although I will say
It's,
this, I'm a sucker for their pickle beer. So.
Dude, I've had that too. Yeah. I mean,
so
I just
good.
love vinegar, so I'm
okay.
in.
Salt and vinegar chips.
Always,
My
always.
favorite. Have you had the wild chips that are made out of like chicken skin?
No.
So they make
Where
a
do you get
salt. They
those?
make Sprouts.
Okay.
I've seen them at Sprouts, Costco.
Okay.
But they make a salt and vinegar flavor.
Oh my god.
You'll eat the whole bag.
I bet.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be better than chips because they're made out of chicken skin.
Protein,
Yeah,
sure.
so it's like if you're
Totally,
on that low carb deal,
Here
you
at
like
my
that,
brewery, I
yeah.
sure am not.
yeah, definitely a good pairing with what we're drinking right now with this Hellas. Yeah, for sure.
I bet.
But yeah, it's like it's crazy to see the envelope that you guys push, but do it well. Like,
Thank you. Yeah, it's never weird for the sake of weird. Like, can we gross people out? Because that's pretty easy, as it turns out. But like, what seems intelligent and interesting, and how do you reward people for coming on this journey with you and respect their palates? Right? Like, if something that we think is fascinating just doesn't resonate, we're not going to like try to drive it into people's glasses. That's just you're not doing anyone any service.
That's right.
I like it.
You want to open doors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pushing boundaries, I always sometimes I like to throw out ideas for breweries, something that I think would be really cool just because you guys do it. Because it's something I've always wanted to do. And one of these days I'm sneaking it in. I don't care what Disneyland tells me. But I've always wanted to bring in the hardened chocolate shell and put it on the Dole Whip.
Oh.
So I think if you made a stout and went with the tropical hideaway kind of flavor, I think that might be a thing.
Kind of like, what was the
There was a close
what was
one.
the golden stout that you did?
Oh my
that
God.
was delicious.
Distant
It's so
Messenger
bomb. I
was
love that
wild.
one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that beer was wild.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can even ever recreate it because it was kind of a little bit of a Frankenstein project. I am so glad to hear that people who know what they're talking about love it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that seems to be the way. Like I had so many bartenders. We obviously know a lot of industry people working in restaurants my whole life.
Absolutely.
Have a rich industry connection. It's rad to put things in front of people who aren't going to like bullshit you.
Right.
And people were so fascinated by that. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this again. Oh no,
That was
lost my
rad.
train of thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. And I think being able to make these one-off projects is really fascinating. We have at this point our barrel warehouse has got probably 900 active aging barrels in it,
Oh my glob.
which is a really big number.
Yes.
And quarterly, I try to work my way through pulling nails and tasting these barrels. And so something that's, I don't know, maybe interesting is that we used to brew, like we would brew Dark Star November, and this is the malt build. This is what we expect it to be. This is how we expect it to finish. These are the stats we need to hit. Great. And it is labeled as Dark Star 1 year or 14 months later or whatever. We pull those casks out and that becomes our Dark Star release.
Yeah.
Anymore, I'm blending things from not just different years, like different brews and barrels of Dark Star, but I'm pulling kind of cross-brand stuff too, especially with the barley wines. Because we'll play with strong ales and go in a really specific malt direction and try to hit a really specific kind of blend-friendly ABV. And then we brew these barley wines to be monsters.
Right.
And so I need to be able to temper things out and hit this really, really beautiful, like medium round arc that is going to hold a concept well. So often we don't, maybe not often. I'd say 50-50. 50% of the time, we're not brewing something that we're destining for barrels with the end concept, right? Like I'm not saying I'm brewing this combination of barley wines and this combination of strong ales to ultimately blend together and become
With this adjunct or whatever.
right,
Yeah.
become this almond joy sensation.
Right.
Like it would be marvelous. And when we're doing collabs, we try to do it with a little bit more intention, just so like everybody's busy and we can keep the thread going a
Right.
little bit more cleanly. But like, this sounds so like tropey, but like you have to let the barrel tell you what it's going to be.
Totally.
And that's the best case scenario is when we're working with a library of casks that's this enormous, your odds are really great, like increasingly great,
Yeah.
if you can find barrels that are going to play together in a really fascinating way. And I think that has kind of leveled up what we've been doing with the small projects like Distant Messenger.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years in particular. So I think that's a really exciting kind of next step for what we're doing. And like having these mainstays, these annual releases of Fundamental and Dark Star and Jam the Raider are fantastic. And it's rad to be able to get a little bit more of that into new people's hands. But to be able to do small projects that we're really trying to push forward or trying to express something that we think is really gorgeous or really special or flavorful, I think that's probably the next step that I'm most excited about for our let me say normal barrel aging, because we're going to talk about these cocktails and nothing about those are normal.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually the question I had in mind when I was talking to you earlier, the question I kind of like had preloaded was where does the inspiration come from the adjuncts and kind of like
Sure.
the imagination.
Yeah.
Where does it kind of play
like
into
one
it?
day, like take a bite
Stasis
of a
beer.
candy bar and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's
You would not believe how many times I've tasted something and I was like, I could turn that into a beer.
yeah.
Do you like Study Break?
Yeah,
To,
right?
was it Gap Year?
Gap year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, and then like the I'm sorry, was it the Fourth Wall?
Yeah.
And then that became wasn't there a barrel aged version kind of that?
Yes. So I please rein me in if I go off topic, okay?
No, you're totally fine. Like this is what it's all about.
But like I think what's interesting with your grab from Study Break to Gap Year was totally perfect because I think I think it's uncommon for a lot of breweries to brew for the barrel. And
Right.
so when we're building Gap Year, that grain build, that recipe is wildly different from what Study Break is, right? Because I'm brewing to be a liquid that's going to stand up to time, that's going to stand up to a little bit of oxidation, that's going to play well with the barrel, and further is going to like work for us in the barrel, right? And so we're not just taking like, oh, we've got a spare batch of Study Break, kick it into some bourbon. That doesn't play well.
Right.
And
because
you can
time doesn't play well
right.
with
You're just going to
that
rip
small
that liquid
bill.
up,
Yeah.
right? If you've got an 8% stout and you throw it into a bourbon barrel, like, yeah, you'll pick up like 1 or 2%, but it's just going to eat through the body of
Yeah.
it.
You're going to lose a
the
lot of
off
that flavor.
And the off flavors will
Oh my
ultimately
God,
shine.
Right. Yeah. You gotta build something beefy if you're going to put it into
Right.
Oh,
barrels.
totally.
Right. Now, do you guys do like additions, like late additions to the barrels at all? Like,
Gosh. Are you talking about adjuncting in barrel?
yeah, like, well,
Or topping things
additional,
off?
like you've already got some adjuncts in there, and then like after you pull a nail, like, let's put more of this in there and let it sit longer.
So I don't, with one exception, and this is fundamental observation, we age the vanilla beans in the barrels. And that I think contributes a lot to what fundamental is. Outside of that, I don't put finishing ingredients in the barrels. Like I'm not putting coconut, I'm not putting raspberry in there because the risk for infection just skyrockets.
Yeah.
So our normal production life cycle, is we've built a recipe, we brew a monster beer that we know is headed to barrels. So it's got a certain gravity, right? Certain specs that we wanted to hit with the ABV, with the body. We barrel it. It sits in the warehouse for at least a year. I think a sweet spot for us has been like 14 months.
Yeah.
And again, it's my kind of like very optimistic schedule wish that I could pull nails on an exact once a quarter timeline, but we're busy people. But man, being able to kind of triangulate data, this is where it gets rabbit hole.
I love this.
Pull me out.
Yeah,
whenever you're
I
ready.
love this. I want to know these things.
But so when I pull nails, I bring in our brewmaster Wes, our lead brewer Nick Prado. We have a QA/QC manager Max Jones, who's extraordinary, and we will blitz through 20 barrel samples and well, not blitz them. We're taking a lot of time doing this actually, and are analyzing what we're tasting. If we're noticing off flavor development, if we're noticing, is this still like a really peaky ABV or has it started to calm down and integrate a little bit? And I've got data, like quarters and quarters of data that I can compare, and I can kind of see this bell curve of when this liquid becomes magical. And to understand that timeline is so critical to understanding when we should be pulling nails, or not pulling nails, but like racking out of barrels and pushing the beer forward, right? And so
Snapping photos.
and so like that and in addition to understanding like when sorry, I'm like all weird now that there's a camera in front of me.
Don't worry.
What was I going to talk about? So when we're doing these barrel tastings, I have a workbook page that I have everybody go through independently. And then once we've like finished one barrel, we'll kind of compare and contrast notes, right? But it's rad to have data from 4 different points, an unbiased perspective of like what people's own kind of palate proclivities are, and we can talk it all out and make sense of what we think is going to be the most successful liquid for a concept that we have in mind, and find things that are going to build towards that, right? And then outside of that, understanding trends of which barrels are even the most successful for us, right? Like we've sourced, we work with a couple different cooperage vendors, which is a complicated wrinkle in barrel aging. And we've been fortunate to source like Pappy barrels and older Van Winkle barrels. And what's wild to me is I don't like the liquid that comes out of those.
Right.
Like my favorite barrel brand and everything that I seem to rate really highly every time is always Old Fitzgerald, which is like, it's a great bourbon, but it's not like a psyche bourbon.
No,
you know,
people
it's
aren't
not
gonna
hypey.
like freak out about it. Yeah.
But man, it just does something to our liquid that is unbelievably delightful.
And that's what it's about. Compliments.
Totally. And it's finding all these points that you can line up. And so when I go back to my cooperage vendors, I can be like, hey, I don't need the Pappy. It doesn't do something for me that I love. It doesn't benefit our liquid. And I don't need to spend like $600 billion on it. Hit me with those old Fitzes and get them here wet. And it's going to be a great year.
What you guys do at the brew house. Yeah.
Totally. And still, I'm not looking just for old Fitz. I think the best thing that we learned early on in barrel aging is that when you layer different brands, you build a complexity, and it's like building depth and richness, and you're pulling so many notes together that ultimately help kind of sandpaper some of the rough edges, and you get this just gorgeous, soft, round, integrated marriage of flavors.
Yes.
Totally.
So rad. Damn, that was so cool. I hope everybody
Brandon was like
I
sitting
hope
on it.
everybody got as excited as I did right now.
Oh, they will.
I don't know what you asked me initially, and I'm sure that wasn't it, but here we are.
Well, we kind of, the question I had was basically how are you inspired to come up with, I guess like the inspiration or
Like
the
the
adjunct kind of bill for like a stasis project beer.
So I gotta tell you, gosh, I'm deciding like how much news I want to break on this. I'll tell you everything.
How about we drink some more beer? No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
Some truth serum that we have over here.
Dude, seriously, I'm eyeballing those cocktail
Let's
beers,
sip
and
on
they're
one.
so amazing.
Honestly, I feel like I should get new ones because they've been diluting for so long.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the barley wine?
Yes.
Marvelous. I love that about you.
Always. Thank you. I love barley wine, and
I think these three are my barley
I think
wines.
more people should love them too.
I just like if you want to get into beer and you like caramel.
Yes.
You're all in.
Dude, okay, real quick. I do have to say,
Okay, these three are my barley.
real quick, before we start getting real deep into this, so I'm from Beaumont, born and raised, and it's in Riverside County and very close to Redlands, and Ritual Brewing is in Redlands. And they have a fantastic barley wine called Fat Hog, and you guys did a badass collaboration, Arcane Rituals.
Yes.
Still to this day,
Yes.
probably my favorite barley wine ever.
Oh,
Wow.
thank
Seriously,
you. Thank
no
you.
joke.
I think
It's
I'm
Insane.
That barley wine is something that I didn't know it was going to be a barley wine initially, but I wrote the name Arcane Rituals on like my project whiteboard thing probably like 2 years before I knew what I was going to put it on, and then it just came together. And oh man,
Ritual with Ritual.
Ritual.
right.
Yeah.
It had to be with Ritual.
It's like perfect,
obviously.
right?
Yeah, and it was the year that we were doing kind of like a high fantasy theme with our like Week of Logic stuff,
Right.
and I was just like, stars collide. Yes, good.
Yes.
But man, Arcane Rituals was and continues to be an unbelievable barley wine. It's English style. It sits on the sweet side, which is the side that I want to be on. And we built that. It's primarily Chevalier malt. And that is definitely the secret sauce. And that went into a combination of bourbon barrels and VSOP cognac barrels. So if you're like sipping and you're like, this is like, there's a little left turn here, it's the cognac. But like we talked about, you're building another layer of richness into it. Arcane Rituals was something we took to FOBAB, the Festival of Wooden Barrel Aged Beers, and it took gold place in its category, and then it went on to take Best of Show, and that's just like the highest praise that barrel aged beers could receive. So like, Arcane Rituals, what an absolute delight that beer has been and continues to be. What we've got in front of us now is called Flesh to Stone. And we talked a little bit earlier about how we like to iterate and kind of continue to push finished beers like Arcane Rituals in potentially new, interesting directions. So this is the Arcane Rituals build. It's the Arcane Rituals recipe, and we put it into peach brandy barrels. And then there are a couple other strong ales blended in. I want to say there are 4 Bernheim barrels, 2 Four Roses. There's 1 Elijah Craig.
Gnarly.
There's 2 more of something else. I'm not going to find it. But like, again, building liquid that is going to complement its peer, its next cask over. And then does it need a top note? Does it need a little bit more of an anchor? Like what can you build to support it? And perhaps obviously the peach brandy is intended to be the star of this show, and you get peach. It's just peach and brown sugar and all this gorgeous caramel
cobbler type.
Yes.
Vibe, yes.
Yeah, pretty psyched on this guy.
Yeah, the flavor, the flavor of peach, like, because there's multiple different, I guess layers to peaches. You can taste, and pre-ripe or ripe, whatever. You get different notes and things like
yellow
that.
Peaches, white peaches.
Yeah, totally, and from different regions. Like I grew up, like my grandparents lived in Oregon, so I got to eat a lot of peaches in Oregon.
Totally.
And so it's really rad. There's a big difference,
Totally.
to where a fruit in what region it was grown. So
yeah, we were talking before the when we were just getting settled about how we source some of our adjuncts, and it's kind of wild that we've probably got a deeper roster of like coconut vendors than most breweries have like hop vendors,
which is crazy.
It's crazy, and I think it's a really cool look into how diligently we are looking to build flavor, because different companies source things from different places around the world in different seasons. The way that they're processed plays a hugely different role, right? And if we're going to just like stay focused and talk about coconut, right? Like you can have raw coconut or shredded coconut or like macerated, like pureed coconut, coconut water, coconut milk. Like this is just the Bubba Gump cycle.
I
Right?
was just gonna say.
Yeah, totally.
I was
How
like,
long can I go?
Shrimp,
Pretty
jumbo
long.
shrimp.
Yeah.
But we do these big verticals with adjuncts that we want to try. So like we'll get in 20 different types of coconuts from a couple different vendors, and they're processed different ways, whether it's like the shred or the piece or on and on. And we'll steep it on a stout base, and we will bring a whole panel of our production team, and obviously Wes and Nick and I will go through and take, again, just like brainiac notes on how does this play, and then where can we use it? So
with all the other components.
Totally.
The barrel, the
if
base,
we're going for Almond Joy, does this scratch an Almond Joy itch? If we're going for something different, I guess a better example here would be like cacao nibs. So if you're getting like this gorgeous fudgy like chocolate cake thing, that's a really different character than something that you might want to pair with peanut butter as
Right.
like if you're trying to go for a Snickers bar, that's going to be a really different character of chocolate than you want as
You want
like
a lighter
a
chocolate.
little more subdued. Yeah.
Totally. And so to have this data for us to come back to and be like, okay, well, the Ecuadorian nibs worked so beautifully when we were building this chocolate brownie collab with Equilibrium.
Oh, the
Where does
crust
that?
the core.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
I say it right?
yeah. Yep,
Okay,
nailed
nice.
it. Your recall is so impressive.
It's so hard to remember all
we
that.
got a lot of names.
It's a lot. Brandon's like a walking encyclopedia of
All the
beer
important
names.
things.
I
yeah.
remember things that my loved ones have drank, over the course. I swear, over the
amazing.
course of like years and years.
I can remember styles, and there's only like certain names that pop out,
Sure.
right? Well, I mean, obviously the one that I like because it's Spaceballs related, but it's like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell him. I'll be like, the one that had like,
I'll be like, yep.
the coconut, the almond, this, and he
Yeah.
and he would shout out the name.
Got it.
Boom,
Bing.
got it. Because at some point I researched it and I actually tried to see if there was a clone online so I could see what the bill
Right.
was in some way. Try to get somewhat close to
Sure.
to a bill,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
and then I Frankenstein it, and kind
You
of,
got it.
and then taste grains and smell hops and check out different adjuncts like we're talking about, and that's how you build great beer.
There it
Absolutely.
is.
And you
Try
run, you
everything.
run it through the old brain and see what happens. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Speaking of the beer, the one that we're trying right now, we were talking about peaches. Like, I'm diving into it, and there's something that like stands out to me a lot, and I'm trying to think, like, because I get like the peach brandy kind of flavor, but I was like thinking to myself, what am I tasting? What am I tasting? And I just remembered, like those pies, those like crusty, they're like kind of hard crusted pies that you could buy at like the grocery store for like. They used to be like 69 cents.
Is that about
Who knows
ham
what
pies?
they are.
Like little
Yeah,
ham
yeah,
pies.
yeah.
And we have like fruit inside.
Yeah, like the Hostess ones or
I'm
the
getting-
I forgot there was
I don't know,
another
maybe
brand.
Hostess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they used to have like the chocolate pudding one.
Oh
and,
yeah.
like- so I can taste like, it just reminds me of my childhood. I can taste like the pie crust with the peach flavoring, and I know that's probably not the greatest of peach to be eating because who knows what they put in those things. But yeah, like I get like a nice pastry crust flavor that
Yeah.
I'm getting, kind of a nutty pastry crust. And it's just it's really good. The thing that I'm worried about the most is how dangerous this beer is because all the flavors that you're getting from it, and like you said, the sweetness.
I don't remember my ABV offhand, but now I'm gonna check it.
I want to say it's 12
12
This is
something.
probably right.
something.
12.7. 12.6.
Are we gonna do prices right? Let me get the slim microphone.
Don't be
out.
the guy that says $1. That's that lady that comes on there and she's like,
Flat-
I bid $1, and I'm
Flat
like,
12.
what is it?
Flat 12.
Flat
Oh, so
12.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said 12 something, so I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Because I left room for disappointment. So it was 12.0.
Yeah. So that can be dangerous because 12% will creep up on you. Really, really good. But the flavor is insane. And like you said, for people that you were talking about the grandma up in, was it Mammoth, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that is not like the beer that they don't want that like, the bitter beer face. They want something different. This is off the wall, and they're going to taste it and be like, peach and nut and a little caramel. Like, this is not beer. This is good.
I get this like burnt brown sugar, like kind of like
Really?
resinous tobacco
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
vibe too, which I really love from like barley
and for
wines especially.
like the hard liquor drinkers too, like this is a good segue to beer for them
Sure.
because they're so used to all those types of notes that they get from their bourbons and whiskeys and stuff. This is good.
Thank
also
you.
get like
Thank
a
you.
little light pronounced, not to mess people's minds up with like a sour note, but like a Jolly Rancher, kind of like that peach, like kind
Yeah.
of like
The pucker?
very like
Yeah.
pronounced, just kind of like popping, kind of
Yeah, there's a
peach
vibrancy
note.
to
Yeah.
it that balances how sweet it can sit, kind of like at the back of your jowls.
Mhm.
I like the color too. It's
you.
real pretty color. Like you just it's that what you want to see in this style of beer. That kind of really dark, like amber color.
Yeah, this is a outstanding beer. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm glad you enjoyed
Good choice. Good choice. We had Lindsay pick out. We said you whatever you want to feature on the show, that's what we'll drink. So and I trust you wholeheartedly because
Yeah.
obviously if you've been listening to the show, she knows her shit. Okay. So anything you put on the table, I'm sure is going to be fabulous.
Thank you.
Right. And it's tried and true. If you love what you're selling, it sells itself.
Yeah.
It
It's
really
easy
does.
to talk about something you're fascinated by.
Yeah, totally.
that's why we do the show.
Hey,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Look at that. Full circle.
Yeah.
Passion. That's what it's all about. Passion and things that you enjoy, and the hobby and the people. And like you talked about, bringing people in that don't like it. And, we've talked about it before, what amazing thing about craft beer is how you could bring people together that normally in a social circle would never even speak to each other.
Totally.
And then they're sitting at the brewery, like having flights together, just talking about random stuff. And it's like,
that
wow.
speaks volumes for the evolution of craft beer too.
Totally.
And especially now, like with a lot of breweries, collaborating, or I guess networking more, I think it just more minds the better. And I think that is what is pushing craft beer more into the mainstream, not to, the mainstream, I guess, kind of gets a bad rap, that word mainstream, but like more approachable and more palatable for other people who wouldn't ever consider trying craft beer. So
totally.
It's just a beautiful time to be alive with craft beer,
Yeah. I
Cheesy,
think
but
it really
our
is.
production team
It really
grows, we're up to 12?
Wow.
12 folks on our production team, which sounds enormous. I mean, it is pretty enormous, really. But the more diverse palettes that we have building these ideas, like bringing these things to life, the more interesting the liquid is going to be, right? So like I want all sorts of different humans here, and I want people who have experienced and tasted different things than I have to be filling in gaps and taking this train in that really new direction. Like, what blind spots do I have that I don't even know that I'm missing out on, these things that I could love, that I just like, you don't know what you don't know.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way this industry is, I guess you could say, evolving, but totally changed. If you flash back to like the early days of craft beer, and it's just like, all right, so we're going to do something that's not InBev style, and it's going to be super hot forward, and you're going to have that hot burn on your mouth. And it was all about, especially here in SoCal,
fun?
right?
We're totally having
yeah,
fun.
Here,
Exactly.
enjoy this Torpedo IPA.
Or else.
You're going to taste it for 3 days.
It get a little wild, I mean, get a little crazy.
But it's
in the
Sometimes it
fun
gets a
way.
little crazy.
Yeah, in the fun way.
Absolutely. And then all it took is, breweries like Bottle Logic and King's Brewing and Pure Project and places that can come into the industry and just like, sure, we'll make those beers, but check this out. And then all of a sudden now we have that much more fans of craft beer. I mean, I remember going to beer fests, let's go back maybe a decade compared to now. Totally different, way more packed, more people interested, right? It's
a huge age range too.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is always cool.
Yeah. That bottle share that we had on the anniversary at the Craft Lounge, just that table alone, how amazing, like age wise. I mean, the mayor was there.
It
was like,
shout out Lloyd.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like we had people from all walks of life, and we were just sharing beer, and I had no idea. I had seen him in the craft lounge, but I didn't know who he was.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, but he's such a great guy, and he loves stouts.
Amazing.
Yeah, loves stouts.
That's awesome.
Like adjunct, like sweet stouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Him and his wife.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So they were really cool to talk to, and talking to, just everybody at that bottle share. That's what I like. You meet so many interesting people, and that's why we do the show. We meet so many interesting people, like in this industry. Like it's amazing. It's not what a lot of people say. Well, it's a bunch of me, right? A bunch of neck beards. Is that what they stereotype craft beer drinkers as? And man buns. I don't have the man bun, so at least I don't have that, right? But there's
all good, man.
You could literally look. Well, we saw your tap room. I mean, there was all walks of life sitting in there, and that's just what it's all about. It's not it is the local speakeasy now, but for everyone,
totally,
not just for whoever it is that goes to the local dive bar and hangs out, with the Vietnam vet that sits on the end of the corner and yells at everybody. And,
it's like food. Food brings everybody together as well. I think craft beer in a sense is the same way.
It is. It's like the foodie version of drinks.
Totally. Yeah. I think that's a great analog for adjunct treatments on beer. Like we're cooking basically.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
You're
experimenting with all the different recipes,
right? Layering flavor,
and it's cool too, like how you say you take one base and then mess with it and tweak it into all kinds of different crazy things,
and let the barrels speak. I love that. That's like the coolest part like,
That would
these
be a cool.
conversations.
That would be a cool glass, like to do glassware and have like the barrel glass and
We should do
barrel speak.
that.
It could just be like what is like I'm gonna throw a way obscure reference in here. You guys ever heard of HR Puffin Stuff?
Yes.
So the talking trees from HR Puffin Stuff. Yeah, so they can be like on the bottle, like it's like have the tree. It's like let the barrel speak.
Yeah. I like that.
They don't whisper. They're more like let the barrel speak. They're kind of like they're kind of
Little
rude.
gruff, little
They
gruff.
they really don't want people around.
I mean, have you seen people lately? I get it. I get it.
HR Puffin Stuff reference?
That's good. My uncle, he listens to the show. He used to watch that as a kid, and he always
Oh,
thought he
dude.
had toys or dolls or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
LSD at its finest.
It really was.
Fred-
a
Fred-
time.
If you
Freddie
have
the
not,
Flute.
if you have not seen HR Puffin Stuff, please YouTube HR Puffin Stuff and get back to us and let us know what you think.
The name alone.
Yeah, just see the journey that it takes you on.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Definitely totally off the wall. But then when you were a kid back then, it was like, oh, this is cool. And then the parents were probably, I could bet the parents were like freaking out. Oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah, it's like, could you really like, not cover it up? It's like Puffin Stuff like, in the title. It's wild.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've gone into this. What do we have next? What are we doing next?
Is it Stout O'Clock? I think it's Stout O'Clock.
Ooh. Stout o'clock somewhere.
Marvelous. Okay, I'm going to put down our most recent Stasis release
Okay.
in front of y'all.
Thank you.
This is Cryopreservation. This is a collab that we did with Aslan, and it is supposed to mimic where's this word in my brain?
Pistachio ice cream.
Thank you. Pistachio ice cream. So it's a lactose-based stout, and it's incredibly rare that we're putting anything with lactose into barrels. This is like our singular guy. But man, does it make such an extraordinary like ice cream character as a base cradle for anything we're going to build onto it. So we're not putting pistachios in the barrel. This is all post racking out. So we've got an enormous tank that we'll debarrel into, and then we'll use our hop backs and stuff them full of pistachios or coconuts or cacao nibs or all sorts of unholy things like marshmallows. And this just became such a cult hit when we first released it. This is our second batch of it.
One of my personal favorites, by the way.
thank you.
I have to say, it's in my top 3
I think
as
it
far as the
just
stouts go.
it just is so perfectly square on what we say it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It
The-
smells like an ice cream parlor.
What do we,
That's the raddest part.
what did you say the other night? Spumoni.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I got that a little bit more from this
This batch.
time around.
Sure. Yeah, this is like I kind of said before about some of the Dark Star iterations. This is a 1.5 mash, so it's a little bit more viscous than the first time around. And I think that built in with double mashes for me, I can always sense when I'm drinking something that's been built to be a monster because it just goes waffle cone. And I'm like, if I can put a waffle cone layer onto this liquid, whoo baby, we've really got something.
That's
And
right here,
and I
right?
think it's there.
I think so too. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I have 3 favorites. Sorry, I got to like nerd out real quick. In no specific order: Voltaic Stack, Paisley Cave Complex, and this guy right here. I like my 3
He's the one.
like heavily like adjunct. I guess
Yeah.
Okay.
those are I think, heavily
I'm going to
adjunct.
check
stouts.
the ABV on this one again because I don't remember all of
Hold
them.
on.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if we
Yeah,
can.
this is a good game. I like this. I won't tell you. You guess.
I'm gonna say.
The pistachio makes it seem like it might be a little heavier.
I'm just trying to think if I can
It
recall
certainly
from the bottle.
breathes a little hotter than where we were just at.
I want to say it's
12.8.
13 point.
Oh.
8.
13.8.
It is 13 point nothing.
I said 12.8. So wait,
I'm going to talk.
I get the refrigerator.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't need. Well, actually, well.
We'll see you
We
at the
do.
Showcase Showdown.
Speaking so fridges at the house, we have 3: a garage fridge, the beer fridge outside, and the inside fridge. And can you believe it? They're all full, plumb full.
I'm shocked,
Wow.
frankly.
Yeah, no, and I'm like, right?
feel you.
I think we need
These-
another one.
Your
And
struggles are my struggles.
I wish it was I need another one for beer, but it's more the,
On the food side.
the ladies like to doomsday prep with food, I guess you will.
You know,
Can't have enough.
it's been a weird couple of years. I get it.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, why is there a watermelon in my beer fridge? Can we talk about this? Like,
What is the plan here?
oh God. But
This beer is
this is
amazing.
delicious.
Thank you.
Shout out to Gina, who I met at Total Wine the other day. I was talking to you about her. She said that she had this and it was fantastic. She's like, you gotta try it, you gotta try it. And I'm like, well, I think I've had it before, but yes, this version, like you say, much more viscous,
Yeah.
a lot thicker. Very, very unique
Thank you. Thank
flavor
you.
for somebody that wants to try something like really off the wall. Definitely suggest trying this.
but so familiar, right? It's so familiar.
right?
Like,
It's fun. You asked earlier, like what inspires some of these kind of harebrained concepts. Nostalgia is such a powerful player, right? And when you can tap something that's like deep in someone's memories, and they're like, oh my God, I had this when I was a kid. I had these
Yeah.
pies.
Yeah.
I know this, and I have a visceral memory. Is just such an incredible hook.
dude, I don't know why. Something just popped in my brain. Chico sticks. You remember those candies?
yes.
Have
I
you ever
love
had
them.
those?
They're like
I don't
Butterfinger
know what
without
that
the
is.
chocolate.
So it's coconut and peanut butter, but they're like a wafer
like
kind
flaky?
of. Yes, totally.
It's like the Butterfinger consistency, like the
yeah,
inside.
like inside of a Butterfinger.
Interesting.
So imagine eating a Butterfinger with no chocolate on it. That's kind of what it's like,
Like
but with coconut.
like maybe do
Okay,
like
okay.
hyper mash with peanut butter.
There you go.
Interesting.
I don't know
I've always
Maybe.
said you put peanut butter in anything, it's going to taste good. But I'm weird that way.
because hyper mash is coconut and coffee, right?
Coconut, coffee, and cinnamon.
Oh, and cinnamon.
Just a little bit of cinnamon.
Now, see, I just thought about something else, something I always bring up because it's my favorite candy bar. If you put peanut butter in FO, you get an Abba Zaba flavor.
Oh,
I
interesting.
love Abba Zabbas.
Abba Zabbas
my
are awesome,
favorite.
but do you microwave them though? I do because
Yeah.
to give
Get
them a little more of a softer.
I was told to freeze them and then you like shatter them and then you just
suck on
jab
them.
your mouth
Yeah.
open and everyone's having a great time.
That sounds totally normal.
Yeah, cool. It's
Abba
like that.
Zaba, you my
Only
only
friend.
friend.
I like the iron, you know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, for real. Just recirculate.
I love Abba Zaba.
I would love to re-pour these for you. Is it cool if
Okay.
I take a minute to go do that?
Of course.
Okay, I'll be back.
Thank you so much.
We were just talking about Abba Zaba. I had to pull this up because I just remembered we were in Big Bear over the weekend.
Oh yeah, dude. Abba Zabbas are rad.
They had it sitting on the shelf. I was like, guess what I'm buying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't see it very often. I'm excited to talk about this. So we've had beer, right? Helles Lager and barley wine and an amazing stout. But this is something that's new for Bottle Logic. We actually got to taste it in Miami. Thank you.
You got it.
Yes.
We'll have to talk about that. here in a
Also
second.
available at the Craft Lounge.
Available.
7th Street in Beaumont Avenue.
Yes. So this
Beaumont,
next
California.
this next product we're going to talk about is available at the Craft Lounge. It's really exciting because it's something different. We were talking about segues to bringing in people into craft breweries and stuff like that don't normally drink the beers, and like my wife. Of course, now I found some that she likes, but this right here is totally different than the norm of what people are used to, and this is something totally unique. And to my knowledge, I have not seen it except for by you guys. So kudos for
Thank you,
being
thank you.
the first to the gate. I'm sure that maybe there's other breweries that have done stuff like this, but as far as what we've seen, this is really cool. So tell
you.
the listeners what journey we're about to take right now.
Let's get weird.
We're going to
So,
get weird.
We are probably, most of your listeners are acquainted with the meteoric rise of seltzers in the
Yes.
brewery space.
Absolutely.
We have some super crushable 4% up to, we've got some 8% ones that are fun. And people love them and they're lovely. And then it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What else can we do?
We were actually
Yeah.
joking about the Windex earlier.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Glacial
guys,
Drift,
My
that was the first one,
crowning
right?
Instagram achievement is that
Oh,
when we
you
first,
told me.
when we first
So cool.
like released Glacial Drift, which if you aren't aware of it, it's a
Available at the Craft
blue.
Lounge.
Also that it's a blue clear liquid that looks, a little bit like Windex. Your favorite household cleaner.
It won't clean anything.
No.
So when we first put it on Instagram, people were just tagging Windex nonstop. And so Windex came and left a comment that was just like so cut and dry, like, please do not use Windex products or consume them or don't drink them, whatever.
Yes.
And I was just like, this is remarkable. Oh,
Success.
Next,
we're doing it.
you're like, Windex, Garbage Pail Kids.
What's next?
If you
Mom.
could
I'm on top
only
of the world.
if you could only get Wendy's to give you a
Oh my
comment.
God, right?
A Wendy's diss.
Right? A saucy snapback from Wendy's.
Oh,
Pigtails. Just clowning on everybody on the internet.
she's a clown. Yeah.
Seriously.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so we've got these seltzers, right?
Yes.
And Windex approves them. And boy, are we just on the moon. But really, though, the seltzers have been fun. And it's another, like you said, fun way to reach people who are here and are not digging beer for whatever
Right.
reason. It's just another way to reach someone. And then we were like, okay, so this is fun and it works, and it just kind of is that. How do you develop on it? How do you iterate on it? More importantly, how do we make it bottle logic? And we're like,
Yeah.
well, the barrels. See,
Got all these barrels sitting there.
got all these barrels. I wonder. So we took it in a little weirder direction than even just our primary barrel here is bourbon, because we know that's
Yeah.
just got this gorgeous sweet spot, and that always, well, almost always plays the way we want it to. Sometimes we get a little wacky with rum barrels. Sometimes, one time we had a Scotch barrel and we put a strong ale in there, and 6 people really liked it. Everyone else tanked it on Untapped.
6
And we were
Ouch.
we were basically like putting disclaimers on it. Like, if you do not love Scotch,
Do not comment.
order this. Don't order this. You won't like it. But the people that love it, like, are
Diehards.
incredible,
Yeah.
incredible fans. So, anyway,
cool.
again, about, making intelligent matches for your
Right.
palates and for your liquids. So, we found some gin barrels from Tomcat Gin, which is kind of rare. Gin doesn't usually hit barrels, but that's how we can play in a very direct spirit space. So we put a high ABV seltzer. So we brewed this to be, it was probably 15% when we put it in. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the next one. I'm talking about Return to Saturn because it's in front of me specifically. And so we must have brewed this to be probably closer to 13%. Yeah. So we brewed it, fermented it, and put it into these gin barrels. And as usual, we expect to pick up a tick or two, 1 point or 2 ABV from getting residual spirit out of the barrels themselves. As things condense over time, I get a little bit more evaporation. I get more concentrated alcohol. Reliable math, pretty reliable math.
Yeah.
And so once we pulled it out of the barrels, we ran it through gin botanicals. So we're running it through juniper berries, and this liquid is getting really close to tasting like gin. Obviously, it's not gin. We're not a distillery. We don't have a
Right.
rectifier's license. Like, we're not using liquor
But
to
the
do
ingredients
this.
are enhancing those flavors.
Right.
Or
But yeah, the way
producing
we're
those flavors.
layering these flavors so intelligently and kind of pulling apart what these components of these cocktails are and looking at what makes them so flavorful in their own right and putting it back together in a way that makes sense for our business and obviously what we're like legally allowed to do, has just been the absolute like wildest ride. So Return to Saturn, which is the one in front of me and the one in front of you,
Yes.
the yellow hued one, if we're looking at Instagram stuff. This is supposed to be reminiscent of a Saturn cocktail. And so this is a pretty classic tiki drink, even though gin really isn't what's expected to be the base liquor in a tiki drink. So we thought that was pretty exciting and kind of an easy way in, but with a twist, you know? So something a little unexpected, but still super approachable. So tiki, I don't know, tiki's always been hot. I was going to say it's hot right now, but I don't
Right,
think I don't think it's ever not been.
Since what, the
Right? Like the late
60s?
60s. Yeah. So the Saturn is a gin-based cocktail. It's layered with passion fruit, with lime juice, with falernum, with orgeat. And so we took that and pulled there's like a hand gesture that goes with this that makes more sense, people.
Love it.
And pulled these components apart to see how we could make them in-house and layer them into this liquid. So we did our kind of usual approach with sourcing different passion fruit juices, juice concentrates, purees, and trialed them on this liquid to see which one we loved, which really sold the Saturn cocktail idea. And then once we found that, started building in the citrus juice, and then like, I'm too excited, I can't even put my words together. Wow,
So awesome.
And then we pulled apart orgeat, which is like the almond. It can be a liqueur if you build it with. If you're building it on an alcohol base. So we obviously can't do that. Again, not a distillery. Don't have a rectifiers. So we're like, how do we make this? Because you could find non-alcoholic orgeat and just like dump it into the fermenter, dump it into your bright tank.
You still get the.
And you could
the
do
flavor,
that.
yeah,
You
but
totally
it
could.
might be a little more
but
subdued,
also,
though.
it would be like hella expensive because I would need so much of it. And so Bayani, who is on our pilot system and was kind of running this show, man, he was one of the most extraordinary hires we've ever made. He was a bartender for years and years and years at Club 33 and has just had access to like the world's most incredible spirits and ingredients list because like you don't say no to
That's
Disney, right?
The bougie
So-
club
Gnarliest.
at
Yeah,
Disney.
the
wildest
secret
stuff,
one.
Yeah, still have yet to partake in Club 33.
So-
Disney, if you're listening,
They'll call you. I'm sure they'll call you.
one day.
You're just waiting
one
by the
day.
phone on a
And I'd
Friday
love
night.
for it to
Mickey,
happen
please.
so that I can rub it in the wife's face. So, yeah.
So when the resort closed for the panorama, people were out of work, and so he had a homebrewing experience and really wanted to truly jump into beer
Yeah.
and start layering flavors here the way that he is so familiar with behind a bar. And so he was kind of the lead executor of these two projects. And so he built orgeat and falernum, this tiki blend of spices, lime juice, clove, cinnamon, allspice, on the pilot, which sounds like, yeah, no, you just like put it in a cup and stir it. But like you need an enormous amount of liquid to
Yeah.
play with the amount of liquid that I had coming out of barrels, right? So the first time we tried to do the orgeat, it fermented. And we were like, oh no, that's some bad science, folks.
Yeah.
And so round 2, we totally honed it in, got our chaos in order, and that became a component that we layered into this liquid. And I for those listening that don't have a visual yet, I really wanted to make sure that people approach this liquid in a really different way. And so instead of serving it in a tulip or a mug or one of our like snifters that we usually put the stasis barrel aged stuff in, I developed a double rocks glass, like a 14-ounce rocks glass, and have one big sexy ice cube, and we're pouring this liquid over the ice cube. So there's a chill to it. There's a
Yes.
dilution to it that is important because this is a 12% liquid.
Yeah.
Once we added all of once it came out of barrels, we had a little ABV spike, but then we're adding the other liquid, non-alcoholic liquid
Right.
in. So
That will
is a
Drop it
dilution.
down just a hair.
Decrease,
Right.
yeah.
I needed people to be in a headspace to experience this as something really different than how they typically experience beer. Because if you had this in a mug, if you had this in a tulip, it would be disgusting, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it would still taste like the liquid, but like your brain is not going to perceive it like you do in this rocks glass, in this kind of elevated.
I like the term sexy.
Experience.
Right.
Because it really is.
Oh,
No, the
The ice cube is
ice
sexy.
cube
no,
just
totally, yeah.
sets it up.
The presentation is awesome.
It's amazing.
Double rocks
Thank you,
glass
thank
with
you,
a
thank you.
little layered lightning bolt kind
Yeah.
of print.
So okay, these cocktail beers are called, because I have to like name things with an overarching series. Actually, Josh helped me with the name on this one. The die cut on these labels make our lightning bolt, like the negative space is a lightning bolt.
Right.
And so these are our lightning in a bottle cocktail series
okay.
beers. And then we do that same repeating lightning bolt shape on the glass. And we're all just very happy with our
I love
clever
it.
art.
So right. So
it's sexy. We're
right.
going to use that. This is different.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you sharing these on the show because, normally it's all beer that we usually, I don't think we've ever had any. I mean, this is still technically beer,
Right.
but
According
different.
to the TTB, it's definitely beer.
Different.
It is beer if you're
We've
listening.
never had anything kind of this wild, so I appreciate you getting crazy with
Totally.
us.
It's totally my pleasure.
So fun.
I'm so excited for my wife to try some of these because I already know she's going to be all in.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, she's
I love
gonna be
that.
all in.
I love it.
She's definitely a tropical gal. Yeah, and she loves tropical drinks, so
Cool.
this can be right up her alley. I really enjoyed this one. I don't know if you get this flavor from it with all the combinations, but I taste like a really, really extra sweet pear.
I totally get that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I
no
tried it
pears
too, I
were
got that
harmed
too.
in the making of this, but the way it
and
all
I love
layers
how that-
together.
yeah, I love the combination of flavors where you can get something that's not even in there.
Right.
That's
Right.
really cool. What about you, Brandon? Did you taste pear?
Actually, sorry, I've been sipping on this cryopreservation because I love it, but I also love this beer too because I've had it multiple times. But let me dive into that real quick, and I'm gonna give it a couple tastes.
Do you want me to grab you a water?
Oh no, I'm totally fine. Actually, I have water right here.
Cool.
There you go. He came prepared.
Yeah, a little palate cleanser. But yeah, no. When I tasted both of these beers for the first time, I actually did not get to taste them over ice.
Oh, really?
I did not.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I just tasted both of them just like in taster glasses. And I got to kind of experience them that way. And this one in particular, the Return to Saturn, was the one that kind of
Yeah.
caught my attention.
Mhm.
And then when we were at Iron Jungle with you,
Mhm.
We
I
had
got to
some.
try it over ice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That was the first time, or that would have been the second time you'd had it then at
Yes,
Irie.
that's
Cool.
correct.
Yeah.
Cool.
First time for me
Nice.
because I hadn't had what they got at the Craft Lounge yet. But that was really cool. Get over there. Lindsay's over there pouring that stuff I was talking about. Oh, okay.
About 90% of the people who buy that beer, they'll take it home.
Yes.
So it is not.
Yeah, and that's been an interesting challenge, and as we expected, when we're launching something new and something that's really kind of wildly set apart from how
Right.
people experience our product. It's like hey, there is an experience that goes with this. There's a build out, right? And so we try to develop, and Josh helps me do this. Try to develop different marketing endeavors where people can see like, oh, there's fun music and you can garnish it and it's put it in the glass and get the ice machine or like get the big cubes that you can freeze yourself or
Right.
whatever.
Like an immersive experience.
Yeah. Like take some time. It's tiki time. Make time for yourself. Give yourself the experience to kind of go through the ritual of it, right?
Right. Totally. I get all kinds of different flavors from this beer. That's why, like, I try a lot of different beers, but this one in particular kind of like stopped me in my tracks for a second, and I was just like what is happening? And so I had to like really just think about it, and I just kind of did a diagnostic type thing on the flavors, and like kind of run it through my palate and my taste buds.
Yeah,
and,
your experience.
and I got a whole lot of different things, but I don't know. I really like love when I can taste something and I'm just like, that's just a new flavor, and it is
Cool.
brought together by a bunch of different flavors,
Yeah.
and I can't really pick out one specific flavor, and that's what I think is really,
Cool.
really special.
Oh, cool.
So,
You guys are too kind.
You guys are
really.
onto something.
Hey.
no,
thank
this
you.
is the kind of stuff that we think about when you're not around. Either like we're at at the Craft Lounge, or we're somewhere else, or trying the beer with friends, or
Yeah.
Awesome.
So this is 100% genuine, I promise.
Yeah. It's just crazy to have something so different. Like I said, we never had anything like that on the show, and
Sure.
and I can appreciate it. Obviously I love beer,
you.
but I do love my mixed drinks.
Certainly. Yeah.
One of my favorites being a Mai Tai, which I think we're gonna
Ooh.
experience here in a second.
Yeah. Well, it's Mai Tai
Close.
adjacent.
Yeah.
So the next one we've got on deck here, this is coming at you at a hot 15%. So no
That's it?
no
Son.
jokes.
That's all. Huh?
That's
I'm
it.
just
Yeah.
kidding.
Well, I'll just wrap it up.
Just-
So this is a collaboration that we did with Evan and the boys over at Green
Green
Cheek.
Cheek.
Our local friends. Can you believe that this is the first collab we've done with
Really?
them? I know.
That is surprising.
I was like combing
Yeah.
through the history of my internet and Instagram and like, really? It's
Not
been
too far
this
from
long?
here.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like a 3-minute drive.
Yeah.
And we're like, swapping hops and filling in each other's grain orders all the time.
Right.
So, well, when Evan was at Noble, we did a collab with Noble, and then everyone got busy with their new stuff. So anyway, so this is something that is, even kind of a level up on what we want the base liquid to be, because kind of how we talked about with our stouts, these are different recipes inherently. Like the liquid is different going into barrels as Dark Star November, as Paisley Cave, as Fundamental. These are all different recipes, different malt builds, different nuances. So I don't intend to put the same high ABV seltzer into just whatever spirit tickles my imagination that week.
It has to make sense.
It has to make sense, but I also want them to stand on their own, right? I don't want people to just like hopscotch like through. There is this flavor and it tastes this way in all of these concepts, no matter what the concepts are. Like I want them to breathe separately, right?
Right.
So this liquid is an experiment in that it is a partial high ABV seltzer, and it's a partial Berliner base that's been sorbated, so we kill any active yeast, so we don't have any cross country explosions, which were all the rage a while ago. But like, let's get it together.
No issues, yeah. I love that you said
a
that.
little shady. Sorry.
No, that's
I mean, you have the science. Be a responsible brewer. Thank you.
Of course.
Much.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So this is liquid that we put into rum barrels, and this is supposed to be a kind of a tribute to a Jungle Bird cocktail. Yes. And so this cocktail traditionally is built on rum. It's done with pineapple. It's done with lime juice, and then it's done with Aperol. And so Aperol is an Italian liqueur, a lot of bitter citrus to it, a lot of herbaceousness. There's some root vegetables, and I guess as it should be, they're kind of secretive about all the components of Aperol, but Bayani is a wizard and deciphered what these flavor components are. And so there's a cool picture up on our Instagram with Wes and Evan and us like going through all of these steeped components of Aperol and blending things together to see what works for this liquid. And so we had steeped separately like sweet orange peel, bitter orange peel, ruby red grapefruit peel, normal grapefruit peel.
The lighter.
Yeah, the lighter of the two. Great.
It's the Bubba Gump thing again.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And then different herbs and the different roots that we had kind of discerned were in Aperol. That's the part that they don't tell you about. And so we basically steeped all these different ingredients separately in a simple syrup mixture, and then tasted them bit by bit. Alongside the liquid we pulled nails and tasted it to see, okay, what have we got going on at base here, and what complements and like puts your brain in kind of an Aperol space that works with this liquid, because they could totally be incongruent and like nobody's having fun, like this doesn't match, don't force it. And if that wasn't going to work, like we came into it wanting to do a Jungle Bird because they're green cheek and they have cheeky, and we wanted to do this really beautiful like bird label, and you can even see little cheekies hiding up in there somewhere.
Got some toucans.
I love it.
But if that wasn't going to work with the liquid, nobody wants to force it. Like that's really the secret to barrel aging or even to brewing. Like if it's not good, don't go that route. Like pivot, please pivot. So
do the research.
That's
and taste.
Taste everything.
That comes
and taste
from
every way you could iterate
component.
on it. Taste it and see what is going to suit the liquid the best.
Yeah.
Most definitely. That's definitely something we've learned from this conversation. It's like, pay attention to what components, what they give.
Yeah.
And what they're going to.
So many options. Like
produce.
do your due diligence and find the best product that's going to serve your liquid and your customers the best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to be the same in every concept that you try to do, right?
Right. Because it could be just as simple as, making a Helles lager and following the rules and just
Right.
doing it.
Right.
And,
yeah.
and
To
just-
everything it's seasoned. Totally.
Right. And brew to the to the tradition,
Yeah.
keep it simple. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with exploring.
Sure.
And that's the beauty of being able to have that canvas and brew beer.
And
Yeah.
that's what we just did. We explored. We went to space.
That's right, man.
And we went to the jungle.
We sure did.
That's right.
I was just thinking to myself.
We went to Jurassic Park,
We did.
and we also
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Perfect.
Yeah. We actually, I did at our hotel in Miami. We were at the, what was that, Sheraton? I think it was Sheraton.
yeah.
At the airport, Miami airport.
Mhm.
And on the back side of the hotel, where our rooms were facing, was water and then a golf course. But apparently this was like
ton.
the iguana hangout.
Ton of iguanas. Like you look down
Tons.
Wild.
and the grass was
Yeah.
moving, and we're like, "Whoa, what's up with the grass?" And then you go down there,
Oh
and
my
you're
God,
like,
they're
"Oh,
everywhere."
there's a bunch of
It's
iguanas just
covered in
moving."
iguanas.
Yeah.
So I filmed like so many Snapchats with like the Jurassic Park theme music playing in the background.
Amazing.
I couldn't help myself. They were just out there everywhere. I'm
There
like,
it is.
I knew they were technically an invasive species because I know they let you catch them and eat them. I'm like, I'm not eating an iguana.
That seems like a very Florida thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Florida
Cool.
man. We saw a Florida man. Remember on the freeway?
Yes, good.
Yeah,
good.
you know.
I have video of him. I'll show it to you after the show.
We had an absolute blast in Florida, and shout outs to everybody that
Absolutely.
we met, and everyone for being so hospitable. And without that, I don't think we would have met Lindsay.
Yeah,
so that's
we
awesome.
ran into. That's what we're going to talk about. We didn't say
Yeah.
it on the show, so we've always wanted to do a show with Bottle Logic. Just
I don't know if you
timing
can
or
tell.
whatever. We get around, but I'm like, yeah, that's definitely on the list of places we want to go, even though it's close, right? And I know you guys are busy here too, but I never really reached out or anything. But then randomly at Irie Jungle, there were a lot of drinks, and there's you got to go to the bathroom.
Gotta do it.
And so randomly,
luckily.
just like Brandon's like, you got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, I got to go too. And I'm
I
like,
was like, hey, this is Lindsay.
I
there's
mean, no,
Lindsay from Bottle Logic.
you guys are playing this like way too easy. Like you let me cut in front of you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like,
Ladies
oh my God,
first.
you've
Yeah,
saved
of
my
course.
life today.
Yeah. Well,
Of course.
we know it's a little more difficult for you to, we can try to hold it as long as we can. Of course, that was hard. I got to
I would
tell
let
you.
anybody go in front of me, but my bladder was full to bursting.
How many breweries were there? Like
A lot.
I think 60.
something like that.
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
It
Man,
was
I gotta
insane.
say, the Tripping Animals team always puts on an incredible
Yeah.
festival. Like, and the way that they treat visiting brewers is just
Amazing.
like unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're like the kindness and the hospitality is truly like unparalleled. I'm wowed every time.
It is amazing. I think they treated the brewers to the Blue Lagoon.
Oh
if
my
I'm
God,
not
it was
mistaken.
wild.
Yeah.
You're talking about iguanas.
I
like,
would love to go.
I'm so
it was
jealous.
so
Yeah.
cool.
I was
that
like,
would've
oh
been so
man, I would have
fun.
loved that. I saw the pictures, and because some of the brewers were talking to me about it throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, oh man, that looked so beautiful, so amazing. But yeah,
Iguanas doing cannonballs.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
something that I've always take heed from, and you saw it with Tripping Animals, but Jeremiah, again, we always talk about him. He's always said like you have to take care of people that are taking care of you.
Totally.
And you saw that at Tripping Animals,
Mhm.
and that was just cool how they treated everybody, and
Yeah.
even us. Like we were supposed
Yeah.
to do a show with them, but there's just no way, like with their weekend and everything.
Totally.
But still, I mean, Ignacio was always like putting the word out for us, and we ended up doing shows with other people, and
Awesome.
we had an amazing time in Miami. I don't think we missed out on anything. We had our own little trip. We went to the Everglades, and Brandon,
cool.
Brandon found a
Yeah.
gator.
I've never, oh my God, did
Yeah.
you
Oh,
really?
I
did you
had to.
wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to, but you know what? The gator would win.
The best part of the gator story, or the
Gators are
Everglades
so
story,
ornery.
is Brandon, and I wish I had my camera out for this, but the whole time Brandon was talking about going to see gators, and we always reference Farmer Fran from Adam Sandler lore.
Yeah.
Let's get on though. And so
You're alarmingly good
Yeah.
at that.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good, right?
So we're like,
Carefully
we're
hung.
like, that'd be cool
down now.
if that was the tour guide. So we're standing in line at the Miami Everglades tour on the little, the airboat thing, and lo and behold, Gator Dan comes out, And he comes out, and Brandon's like, well, first, just looking at him, he had these like mutton chop beard thing, and he's like, down there, brother, I'm gonna get them on these gators. And
Everybody stand up in that line right there. We'll get up on the boat. We got to bring it over here. There's the man one here.
The look on Brandon's face was
He's
my.
just, like, exploding
Oh my
with
God!
joy.
I had this guy.
I thought he was gonna lose it. I really
was
did. And he's like, stop, because I was like egging him on
He's
even
like,
more.
I can't breathe. It's
And-
amazing.
It
And
was
then we're
just
like
great.
right next to him. We're in the very back of the boat, and he's
Of
on like
course.
he's on like the throne, by the fan, and he's just like he stops and he's like saying all these
Little
facts.
girls.
Yes, and then he goes like,
Little girls.
he's like, "Where's the girls at?" And he's like, "Oh, where's the boys at? Where they at? They're the gators. It's mating season now. Come on now, everybody." And then we're like, oh, right on. He's like,
Oh my God, Florida is a hell of a drive.
and then
Oh,
we just
yeah.
stop. And we stop in the middle of the Everglades. He's like, "All right, anybody who doesn't like the tour now can just walk off to the left right there if you want." And,
How about when he's like, we stopped and there was that splash and he was like, no, the big fella down there almost got his elbow taken off by that gator over
it
there.
was him. It was Justin on the right side of the boat, and a gator tail like flopped up, and yeah,
I didn't even know.
it almost took off
Because I'm taking in the scenery.
Yeah,
like,
It almost took out his elbow, and he's like, "Yeah, that big fella over there almost got his elbow chipped off by that old
I wasn't
gator
going to
there."
do anything about it,
Yeah,
but I'll replay.
Oh, it was an experience that you'll never be able to, like, you
Oh
can't,
my
you
God,
can't
I
put
Here,
a price tag
I gotta
on
show
it.
you something
I-
funny. Okay.
Oh,
here.
do you have the picture?
I'm
Oh yeah,
so
I have all the
envious.
pictures of the gator stuff, and then we did a little like show afterwards, and
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Jasmine
the
kissed a
gentleman,
bullfrog.
yeah, a gentleman brought out some different aminals.
Next time you go to
I
Irie, you
cannot
have to
wait.
do it. We'll go.
Yes,
take you.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
So
That's
here-
totally-
Here's some baby gators.
What's the scale of these creatures? Need more context.
Right here. There you go.
Oh,
Little baby.
That's a
wait,
big.
those are so
that's the
baby.
big
Those are the big ones.
Okay.
Those are
okay.
those are the adult
Yeah.
alligators.
Those are the ones at the show.
You could fit like a human inside them.
And then here-
concerning.
And then here is my girlfriend cheating on me with a bullfrog.
Wow.
That's a big frog.
Show-
She didn't actually kiss it.
Can you-
It just looks the camera
Can you
magic.
show
Yeah,
her
camera
Gator
angles.
Dan so she has context to?
I honestly don't
Can't
think I
wait.
have pictures of Gator Dan. I think
have
you.
to.
I think you do.
Well, I sent them to you, did I not?
I don't remember honestly. I know they're all over the Instagram and whatnot. But yeah. So Gator Dan, he was a nice guy. He showed us around the Everglades, and that was that's kind of what I
Everything you
what I wanted to see. I wanted
Truly, I'm so envious.
This
next time you go.
Yeah.
Well, hey, honestly,
Let's do it.
maybe next time if we go to
Charter a
Irie
boat
Jungle
with
together,
Gator Dan.
if this
then
guy
we'll
doesn't
go to the Everglades and we'll see if Dan's still around.
if this
He'll
guy
give us a
doesn't
tour.
scream Gator Dan, I don't know what does.
Oh, incredible.
So for those listening, this man, he's born and raised in like the Everglades.
Gatorville.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
seriously.
incredible.
And so he doesn't have like the top part of the mustache, like under
well,
the
not
nose.
since the incident.
He just has the handlebars like on the bottom half. You know what I mean? So where the lips, kind of.
I mean, it's right where it
Intersect.
counts, so he's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's like Yosemite Sam without the
Yeah.
first part of his
That's right.
mustache. Or the top part, I should say.
That's
But it was amazing. We had a lot of fun at the Everglades, and we had
there
a lot
he is
of
on his
fun.
throne.
I reached and I
That's an
read
incredible picture.
it's
It
so
tells a big story.
it's so
It does.
magnificent. It's so it's so deep. But we had such a great time at Irie Jungle. We met a lot of awesome people. We had some amazing beers. We did flamingos or
Flabongo.
flabongos. You know,
Did you do a flabongo?
Please tell me everything.
at District 96. Yeah,
They
they're
brought
little
flamingos.
tent. So they had these plastic flamingos that they. I don't know if they were manufactured this way, but there's a hole in the belly
believe
of the
so.
flamingo, and then
And
out the
then
nose,
okay.
that's where you, that's where you drink
It makes sense.
liquid from.
Well, yeah.
Chug out of a flamingo.
Uh-huh.
We did it. They didn't tell me it was a triple IPA, but
Yeah, so I got the
nothing better to chug.
I got the
Cool.
last lager, and then
and I got the IPA.
And then things took a turn.
Son
they were like,
God.
Justin, they were like, oh, this is going to be an IPA. Is that cool? And then he's like, yeah, sure. So they just gave him a little bit. He's like,
And the
"Boop."
way that it's shaped, it's just arced just right to where it
Mhm.
just shoots down.
And you got to be careful too, because you
Yeah.
don't want to lose liquid out of the
The belly.
abdominal
Yeah.
region.
right?
Yeah, because there's a hole in the belly, and so you don't want to lose that because it would just pour all over.
Oh,
your
so they hand
face.
the flamingo to you, and
Yes.
then you're responsible.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yes.
being proned at you.
Oh no, they have to
Alright.
like show you and like kind of can walk you through it.
Mm-hmm.
So-
101.
And as we learned, District 96, if you're listening, your Flabango is still up for ransom at Prison Pals.
Yeah,
Juan.
for sure.
Our last episode, we had so much fun with those guys at Prison Pals because they, their theme, right? Their name, Prison Pals, right? It kind of fits in. And so the best part was when Juan said that he procured one of the Flabongos and he had it. And if
for
District
ransom.
96 wanted it, they needed to come to the brewery and drink some beers to get it back.
There it is. There it is.
So fun. But yeah, awesome experience. And I'd love to do it again. Let's do it.
We're doing it again.
It's so
I told
fun.
you, it has
that,
to be a yearly tradition.
It's so
much fun.
good. And it's fun to see all the festivals come back to life. Like it's been so long
Yeah.
and everyone's just like raring to go. So I think we're in for a pretty wild festival season.
We are.
I hope so.
Speaking of festivals, we have one coming up, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Real quick, like.
Not even a month away,
what?
less than a month.
Oh, yeah. So we have Kunkelfest coming up. And it's going to be at the end, or actually the middle of June 18th. At the Craft Lounge.
Saturday,
Taproom Bottle
June
Shop.
18th, Kunkelfest. Be there
That's
or
right.
be square.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it is a benefit and, celebration of our friend Joshua Kunkel. And we're going to have a number of breweries and a lot of special things in store.
And some lucky home brewer is going to
That's
be
right.
announced as a scholarship recipient to Cal Poly Pomona.
That's right. That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So we're raising money for that. And then we'll have another
ARF.
silent auction.
Got to raise
Also
some money.
raise some money.
Yep, got to raise some money for ARF, the animal rescue friends up in
right.
Idlewild, no kill animal shelter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
So it's going to be fun. Beaumont, California. Oh, poor Jimmy. There's so many breweries. Like it's going to be so stacked
It's
over
going to
there.
be so much fun.
But it's going to be a lot of fun, but for a good cause. So that's like our first, and then another one in October.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
going to be another special event in October in coordination with another very popular taproom bottle shop.
Beer Farm.
Yeah, it's going to be happening on October 15th. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be a pretty big deal. Stay tuned, for the details. Craft
also-
Lounge Beer
also-
Farm.
That's also the chosen one's birthday, Hunter.
Oh, wow. That's his
October
birthday?
15th.
That's
It is.
crazy.
Yeah. Guess where he's going to be for his birthday?
He's going to be right there.
Poor little guy.
I know. He's
He'll
going to
be
be like,
4 this year. He's not going to like that.
dude.
He'll be
what?"
there, though.
There's not a bouncy house here.
Well,
I'm
we might be
kidding.
able.
I
We
mean.
might be able to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. October is a cool month.
There's a lot
My
of
birthday's in October.
beer festivals
Yeah.
to attend and to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
JBF is in October.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to make sure that it wasn't,
that same weekend.
you know,
Otherwise, there'd be
butting
no
heads.
breweries there.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
We can't commit. We don't have anybody.
Yeah.
Totally.
So
So a lot of
it's
good
gonna be a
stuff.
lot of fun. I can't wait.
This last beer that we had, Birds of Paradise, stupid good.
As all of the
I got
beers
off
have
track,
been.
but I had a thought about this, and I want to send a message, a stern message to all of our listeners, and I know a lot of them are bottle shops and tap rooms. This is something that you truly need to have in your shop, and Jimmy has it. And the presentation, you guys need to follow this presentation because I think you're going to capture customers that you don't normally capture.
Yeah.
Right.
That's our goal with it.
Bourbon
It's really
drinkers,
wonderful.
or like my wife, tropical cocktail drinkers, the type of people that like to go to those like speakeasy, tiki hut,
Totally.
what do you call it?
Pop-up
What's the word
kind
I'm
of
looking for?
scenarios.
Like down in San
Lounges?
Diego, like the tiki lounge, like it's the speakeasy. You got to sneak into it. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think what's the name of it. Down in Gaslamp.
Forbidden Idol.
Is that what
no,
it is?
it's not. It's God. I can never remember the name. It's
Yeah.
got the wall of skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. I've never
Yeah.
been to a tiki bar actually. It was just
Oh, dude.
I know I want to explore this.
So much fun. I have so many Hawaiian shirts. Like I have to. Well, I had one on it. Irie Jungle. I felt
I mean,
the
you
need.
have to there. Come on.
Yeah.
The only thing I was missing at Irie Jungle was the fanny pack and the slide-on sandals with the zipper pouch.
Oh,
The Miami look is a big deal.
Yeah. We learned that from Justin. He used to
Yeah,
be the
the
head
Urban
brewer
South.
from Urban South HTX.
Sure.
Have you met Justin?
I haven't met Justin, but I spent a ton of time with Nate, their sales director.
Okay. Yeah, he's newer there. We talked with him too. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
So Justin was their head brewer. He's now at
corporate ladder.
Corporate Ladder.
Oh my God, I know him. Justin Harold.
Long hair, glasses, crazy.
He's amazing. Like he's like
super cool.
I've never met someone in the industry whose brain moves the way that mine does.
Yeah, he's
And,
wild.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He like the way that he thinks about flavor and the way that he wants to build things to approach
Mhm.
a certain, to like scratch a specific itch. Oh my God.
You want to hear
so
some
fun.
wild
I'm glad that we
fun.
brought this up though, real quick.
I
We were
love
talking about
him.
nostalgia. We had the same conversation on the podcast that we did
With Justin.
in Houston. Yeah. And we talked about nostalgia because there was a beer with, what was it?
Nerds.
Nerds.
Yep.
And we're
Uh-huh.
just like, what inspires you, or what is your favorite, childhood memory that you've incorporated or integrated into a beer?
He said it just like this. Oh man, let me tell you, back when I was a kid, Nerds was my jam. That's exactly how he
I know,
said
I
it.
can hear it. I can
Vibe.
see it.
You got to listen to that episode. Justin was
Pretty
great.
cool. Yeah.
The first time I
Awesome
went
time.
to Tripping Animals, this was like the first festival in the pandemic era.
So that was the
And so
one
I'm
that
like,
we saw him from.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
well out of drinking practice, and and we show up there, me and Brandon, our brand manager and partial owner, like expecting to like go full Miami, and we're like stretching our quads and stuff, and we had been drinking for like 2 days straight, came in on a red eye, and the tripping people greet you with cigars and bourbon, and you're like, here we go.
Let's do this.
And then we're doing beers all day, we're brewery hopping, we're like down in Wakefield, and we're back, and we're doing cigars, like Cuban cigars down on Calle Ocho, and then we get back to the hotel. It is 3 a.m, and Justin opens his backpack and he's like, "Y'all want to talk bourbon now?"
Oh,
Like,
shit.
oh my God. I need to-
The funny
Okay,
thing
sure.
is he that was the day he did the show with us.
Yeah.
So he drank during,
Yeah.
and we had drinks on the podcast, drinks afterwards, drinks before, and then he did a quick
Chug.
change into his Miami uniform.
We
which I
did
thought
it.
was
We did a
great.
chug too. It was rad. Yeah.
He had the slide on sandals with the
Yeah.
zipper pouches.
There it is.
The little pink shorts, I think they were. And
Florida to
yeah,
Florida.
he was ready to go.
Super rad.
Him and I believe Angela,
Yeah,
the other brewer,
cool.
they
Cool.
went together. So that's
It-
funny. Small
yeah.
world.
Yeah. So I took a lot of kind of indirect inspiration from their gosh, I hope there's not like a series name that I'm forgetting, but a lot of the dessert station beers that Corporate Ladder does that
Yeah.
end up in the big clear bottles.
That's right. Yeah.
So I wanted these lightning in a bottles to be clear because there's so much real fruit in them
Yeah.
Color is
that I
extremely
want people
vibrant.
to see the beautiful colors, and I also want people to see how the fruit how the fruit stratifies, because
Right.
I need people to like shake, like a gentle little
Yeah.
right.
shake to incorporate that, right? Because gravity's fighting how it all plays
Solids.
I
together.
want them to
Yeah.
have
Totally.
stratisfaction.
I do. I want them.
That was a
No.
that was a
No.
That was
wrestling
terrible. I'm
reference.
so sorry.
That was actually a wrestling reference for Christopher Martin. We mentioned him earlier.
Oh no. But yeah, no, definitely.
And I think if people can see, like, oh, it's settling, like you can see in the Corporate Ladder bottles, it's settling, and your instinct is, how can I should shake this, I should reincorporate it. And I think that's what I'm missing here. But God, when we tried to get the clear bottles, there was like one vendor in the world that does it because I wanted them to be the same stasis shape as our
Right.
normal bottles, so we have that like continuity. It was like, you have to order 200,000 and we can get them to you next February. And I was like, that's not gonna
no.
work. So
Wow.
we're in brown bottles for now. I'd love to transition into clear bottles.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Especially because the colors here, they can't see it, but we'll put pictures.
Yeah.
But you have that really rich kind of golden yellow color with the Return to Saturn, and then this one right here is got that like really orange,
Kinda
pinkish
coral,
color.
yeah.
Coral. That's a good description. Tropical as hell. It'll look cool in a bottle. Sitting, especially for like the craft lounge when somebody comes in.
Right. And it just looks different. You want to touch it.
Yeah,
So aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, definitely.
they're like, "What's that?"
Right.
Brandon's like, "Let me tell you."
So different. Oh yeah.
Then you backlight it and
There you
things
go.
just get crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Let me get my bourbon glass out and get a nice little cubed ice cube and pour you a glass, and we'll talk about it.
There it is.
Yeah. Maybe with a cigar, like Tripping Animals.
What could be better? Not much.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm picturing this drinking this, sitting in some kind of, well, your patio out here's got a tropical setting kind of, and then having what's that song? The Girl from Ipanema. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, Stan Getz.
Yeah, give me my stogie, give me this, and I'm good to go. Got my Hawaiian shirt on. Yeah, that's definitely
That's the life. That's what it's about.
take me away right here. Yeah, this is a different experience. You guys,
Totally.
honestly, obviously we love beer. You saw we wanted to start with the
Absolutely.
light beer stuff, but this is really cool. I'm like
Thank
super
you.
stoked on it.
Everything is so amazing, and for fans of all, fans of all styles, and
Yeah.
people who are ready to kind of venture into new and deeper waters of the craft beer
I
world.
think
So
Bottle Logic is a fun place for fans of the process, no
Yes.
matter what the process is.
Yes.
Like
100%.
we're so interested in helping people understand what it is that they enjoy and why they might enjoy it, because it makes us better brewers. It makes them more confident customers. It helps them get a drink that they're going to enjoy more often than not, right?
Yeah.
And like the more knowledge people have about anything, like I don't know, you could apply this liberally to everything. The more knowledge you have, the better time you're going to have as a human,
Totally.
right?
I
Right.
love that statement. Awesome. Like, I agree 100%. We have this conversation a lot too. Yeah.
I
It's
feel
great.
like
I love that.
what we did here on this show, and the listeners will probably feel the same. A lot of times, our listeners, like when they like comment on like reviews and stuff like that, they're like, "I feel like I just like sat down, had a beer share, and
Yeah.
hanging out."
I love
And
that.
they like to grab a beer and listen to the show,
Totally.
or during their commute, which is fun too.
It's even
Yeah.
more fun too when they're actually drinking the same beers that we've had on the show.
Sure.
That's
Fun.
so
Yeah.
sick. I love
Yeah.
that.
So we definitely highly recommend coming down to Bottle Logic and procuring any of these beers that we talked about here.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
especially
of course.
especially these last two, just if you want something totally different, like way crazy. And then like Lindsay was mentioning with the presentation, it gives you a totally different experience than what you're normally used to at a brewery.
Right.
So you can still have all that. You guys do flights here. You have Czech style
Traditional,
pours. You have, I mean, this is like we went around the world here.
Totally.
Around
The
world, around the
full
world.
gambit of styles and expressions. Like
Yeah.
we've definitely got something for everyone. And without trying to be everything to everyone, like I'm not trying to be a lager house and build every type of lager you could possibly want, but we circulate through lagers and more frequently brew the ones that we really, really nail.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to scale up from our pilot onto our main system,
Yeah.
put out in big batches and have those widely, or like consistently, I should say, available, while we're also doing small batch smoothie weirdness,
Yeah.
Yes.
big bourbon barrel aged beasts,
This,
nuanced cocktails,
so
right?
cool.
This
hazy,
Hellas,
sure.
as well
Right.
as the
Well versed.
what was the other one we had the other night? The light lager.
Speed of light.
The
Speed of
one-
light.
yeah,
So
I
either
actually
this or
had to
that
Get down with some of that before we started.
for your
Yeah.
traditional
Absolutely
beer
great.
drinkers. You guys
Yeah.
nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Speed of light is kind of trying to fly as close as we can get to the Miller Lite Sun.
Nice.
Yeah. American
I
lager.
dig that. I love that.
America.
America.
Little like Miller Lite, Rainier, Hams kind of.
Yeah. Right in that space. Totally.
I love that.
Totally.
I'm a big fan.
Get your
Thank
hands
you.
off my PBR.
I love me some PBR too.
It's all got a place in the world. Totally.
Of course, it's about the experience and about memories and all kinds of different flavors that
And you
just
don't
kinda
have to
make sense
drink
in
the
different
same
places.
thing all the time,
No,
right?
not
like
at all.
come here, like we've got 32 draft lines. If people are coming in here a couple times a week and drinking the same thing,
Yeah,
where else can we
Explore.
go?
Let's have
I got more than this.
have some
right?
fun.
Something
Yeah,
else.
explore responsibly.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Yeah, we got
All of it.
Ubers, we got Lyfts, we got all kinds of fun things. Come and have a good time, and don't be afraid to get a ride home.
Yeah, come back safely.
And don't
That's
be
right.
afraid to
Always.
go outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
right.
Exactly that.
You'll be
Get a
you'll
little
be
weird,
amazed
you
at
know?
what you're going to find here at Bottle Logic. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Like me, drinking a tropical drink with an ice cube. Like, who would have thought?
I think we've just been waiting for this, and you have graced us with
Thank you.
My
what we've
pleasure.
been waiting for.
She
so
said we were
thank
getting
you.
weird. So
The
we
next,
did.
the
Weird
next
is-
ones I'm working on in this
Good.
space are, just to break all my news with you. Why not?
Please.
I have a high ABV seltzer that we put into mezcal barrels. And so I'm going to play with a bee's knees cocktail, except so a bee's knees cocktail is traditionally gin based with
Yes.
honey and with lemon, and it's equal parts, which is kind of wild. But we're going to substitute the gin for this mezcal barrel aged seltzer. And it is, I'm hoping to drop it sometime in early June. I'm knocking on wood here. We'll see. If my
Right
honey,
around the corner.
if my honey comes in time, I think we'll be in good shape.
Nice.
But working on that, and then because I just am so fascinated by layering a smoky kind of piece to the palate with acidity of the lemon and with like a savory sweetness of honey, and how that
Mhm.
plays together, I think is just
I
really
think that'd
thrilling.
be fantastic.
And then I'm hoping that I can simultaneously release a pina colada
Stop it.
effort. And I don't, this is my greatest wish. I don't know if this is going to come together this way.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking always about presentation and experience. Once the liquid is in someone's hand, how are they going to think about it? How can I how can I help their brain get to where it's going to enjoy this liquid as we intended it to drink and feel and fire off these kind of nostalgia fireworks for you? How can I get there most successfully? And I thought for a long time about putting like using pebble ice in this same glass, which I think could be cool. I thought about doing like a Collins glass, like a tall skinny guy, and that could be cool. I'm sorry to be a hater, but I hate the traditional pina colada shaped glass. I
Oh,
just think
yes.
it's like so
It's got
like
the bulbous bottom with
Yeah.
and it kind of tulips
With
up.
the tulip
Right.
mouth,
and I
yeah.
hate selling glassware to people that's like one note and forever impractical
Right.
after that. So
You can only use it for one style.
Right, because like
Right.
this
This is
rocks glass, you
infinitely
can drink
practical,
whatever from it. It
right?
does not
Yeah,
matter.
Yeah. So and then I was thinking about like, okay, well, if I want to make it different, I could do pebble ice for the pina colada. But if the ABV on that liquid isn't high enough, and I'm not sure, I think it's clocking at like a 15 right now. My mezcal one, on the other hand, I took the ABV on that the other day, and mind you, this is before I'm diluting it with liquids like honey or lemon juice.
Can we guess?
Please do.
Okay, since I brought it up, I'm gonna say it's with honey already.
It does- no,
not brewed with no honey has been added.
It's just a high ABV seltzer, and
Okay.
it's in the mezcal barrels.
Okay,
And it will get honey. It will get
After.
lemon
but
juice.
it's higher
But,
than.
and it'll
Yeah.
dilute because
Okay.
I'm adding that liquid.
has it been
right?
higher than the bases of these two? Okay, 21.
Oh no, not quite
Did-
that.
did I, like,
no,
way
now,
up to the
moon?
Now I'm disappointing.
16.
Sorry,
It's
sorry.
17.67.
Ah, good job.
Yeah, and it'll come down a little bit. Maybe not that much. We'll see. It could be wild. So anyway, I'm ambling towards a point to this crushed ice, cubed ice, pebble ice. There we go. Story in that I don't know that the ABV will be high enough on the pina colada endeavor to intelligently put it over pebble ice, because that dilution rate is going to be really different, and it's just going to like soak the liquid in water, and that's not what I'm
Not what
going
you
for.
want,
It's not going
yeah.
to suit the liquid. And so I'm thinking about like finding like natural fruit popsicles, like the
Oh.
big beefy
Uh-huh.
ones.
What are they
And using
called?
that as an
The-
ice cube.
And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking of like, okay, I could find like a strawberry and a pineapple.
Are you thinking like
I
going
like
like
the
the
lime one a lot,
like
too.
at
I do. I
the
love
like
the
La
lime. So
Michoacana?
Yes, exactly
Yes,
those.
okay.
Exactly those.
But they're
And
called
then I
something
would-
Outborn or something like that, right?
Outshine.
Outshine. Yes,
Yeah.
Outshine.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, and so I'm
How
like,
rad would
who?
that be?
Like, I'm
Michoacana.
hoping
La
at.
Michoacana,
I'm
yeah.
hoping that they sell them in bulk, and the only I'd only be able to do it if they're individually packaged, because
Yes.
I think they
Do-
are.
I'm pretty sure, right?
I'll do a solid.
The Hemet, California.
Vero's Ice Cream Shop in Hemet. They're in Old Town Hemet. They make their own La Michoacana style like the popsicles and the fresh fruit,
Oh,
and
damn.
as well as amazing
Do
ice
they,
cream and
do
other.
they package them
They
individually?
do individually in packages. Vero's, look them up.
I will.
Yeah,
I
downtown
literally
Hemet
will.
or Old Town Hemet.
And I'm
Okay,
pretty
okay.
sure La Michoacana does it as well.
La Michoacana does too as
Yeah.
well.
And then and those are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so what I'm thinking what might be cool is that this liquid in its purest finished bottled form is a pina colada, like a straight pina colada, but people do flavored pina coladas
Yes.
in all sorts of different crazy ways. So if I get like a strawberry popsicle and a pineapple popsicle and I don't know if you want to double down on coconut, sure. But people can pick which popsicle they want.
put
And
it
then
in
we
there.
put the popsicle in and
It'll
pour the
melt.
liquid over.
Too legit.
And then you get like a strawberry pina colada
Love it.
or whatever else, right?
Yeah,
And then
can
you
eat
also
the
have to
popsicle
like
with it.
come catch them all and try all three. And
like
that's
the
just good
Pokemans.
marketing, folks.
Yeah. Right now, my wife's like, I'm there. Sign me up. That's right up her. Pina colada is her favorite drink. So yeah, and then she likes the like you said, the flavored ones: mango, strawberry, raspberry.
Mango's a good call.
Well, actually, she's not a fan of raspberry. I like raspberry.
I love the coconut flavored one. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Coconut and lime are my two
I love
favorites.
that lime
The lime one is
outshine
so
one.
awesome. Yeah,
I just love acidity.
Me too.
Again, I
Yeah.
love vinegar, love acidity.
me
Hit
too.
Pickle beer.
I love. Yeah.
Well, bottle
pickles are
ever
rad.
dabble in the pickles.
Oh God, I doubt that very much.
I doubt it. It could, you know what could be cool though? Maybe not necessarily full blown pickle, but pickle esque, like something like this, but with more of the cucumber character and
Sure.
that refreshing
Yeah.
cucumber lime.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be like.
really good.
There was a
Put that in a
a
Collins
Gatorade
glass.
that came out that was
Yeah.
cucumber, and I was like, I told my daughter to grab a couple Gatorades in the gas station, and she grabbed it. She thought it was like apple or something.
Sure.
And I'm like, cucumber, and then I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna drink it because I'm thirsty. It was amazing.
Sure.
Oh man, it was
Sure.
good. Just like almost like margarita
Yeah.
status, and I was like, yeah, that could be
That
something.
could be cool. Like
Yeah.
it's cucumber is such a delicate flavor, but so refreshing, and it just like
Yes.
always reads that way, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right. And
that could be cool.
so like it's so unique, and there's no other flavor that tastes
Totally.
like really.
Yeah, totally.
That doesn't that tastes like cucumber.
Nope.
It's so
Not at all.
magical.
All right. So we're coming towards the end here of our
Yes.
wonderful podcast. It's been amazing.
Seriously.
What
So
we've
cool.
already kind of talked about some of the future things, but what do you want to tell the listeners about Bottle Logic going forward here in the future? What can they expect? Any kind of releases you want to talk about? I know
Sure.
that when this episode comes out, you guys will have had a new release come out as well as the Star Wars Celebration stuff coming out. But what else would you like to talk about?
So the release that ties in beautifully to what we were drinking today already is, so we've had cryopreservation. I basically split the base liquid of all the cryo base that I had in barrels. And again, I don't have pistachios or whatever else on the liquid while it's aging. That's absolutely just a post racking decision. So I have this gorgeous lactosey ice cream, silky texture with that kind of waffle cone edge to it. And this week, with Star Wars Celebration in town, I'm doing this like Star Wars theme adjacent stasis release called Into the Maelstrom. And this is a very long form word association with the Kessel Run. So it's a Rocky Road stout. And I'm like thinking about, God, how do I tie Rocky Road into Star Wars? Like what would be like a hard journey, like a bumpy journey? And it's like, obviously making the Kessel Run would be a rocky road, shall we say. And I'm very careful, and Josh, our artist, is also very careful to just very, very
Subtle.
delicately
Lightly,
flirt that
yeah.
line with
Yes.
such prestigious intellectual property.
It is all about the fandom.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all about the fandom.
And I think that people love when you can give them an aha moment. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I get it. I get the tie-in. It's indirect,
Nice
and
deep-
you appreciate
deep
it
cut
more.
reference.
Like for me,
right?
Comb the
Yeah.
Desert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Picturing the dudes with the round helmets, literally combing
Man, we
the
ain't
desert.
found shit.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing. So that'll be this weekends, or depending on when this comes out, may have just released.
Yes.
So come and snag that, because oh my God, have we hit this rocky road nail. We've it's amazing.
It's one of my favorite ice creams.
Yeah, I think most people gravitate towards Rocky Road because
Sure.
it's like, why can't you?
It's
like
everything
the
you would
best of
love.
everything, yeah,
right. So I've got that guy this weekend. I've got some rebrews of some campy creatures that have been a little quite a long time overdue. So gosh, I'm going to rabbit hole again on this. So we recently upgraded our main brewing system from a 15-barrel direct fire to a 30-barrel steam system. And that was kind of a pandemic pivot. If listeners have been to Bottle Logic before, you perhaps have noticed that our tasting room is like slightly uncomfortably small. We brought a patio up to life the week that California decided that outdoor dining was a thing, and we were like, rip some grass up, let's do it. But we had plans that were working their way through the Anaheim, process of approval for like 3 years. And then finally we're approved in November 2019, just in time for everything to shut down. So we had planned to spend a bunch of money, or I should say like reinvest profits into expanding our guest facing space. And when everything closed up, we were like, oh, well, we had long-term goals to continue developing our production capabilities. And so we just pivoted that reinvestment into our back of house. And so we are in a space where we're capable of brewing a pretty extraordinary amount of beer. Not that we've accomplished that goal yet, but the capability is there, and that's exciting. Anyway, so long story long, coming back from the rabbit hole into Campy Creatures, was we so naively thought that we would directly be able to scale up just one for one. We just double recipes off of 15 onto a 30. Oh, this is not the case. Mm-hmm. And especially moving from direct fire to steam, it was just like, whoa. So we basically went back and retooled nearly all of our standard recipes to ensure that they taste like Hanamachi and like recursion. And so the kind of last piece of that puzzle was getting back into these kettle sour Berliners, which people love to shit on, but they can be difficult if you don't have the capability, if you don't have the time to dedicate to it and to do it right. Like, you're going to get some weird flavors if you're not giving it everything it needs and devoted attention.
Funk in the bad way.
Yeah. Nobody's having fun there. Mm-hmm. So excited to have some Campy Creatures back, and adding a new one. We talked before the podcast again about how peach is such like a Compass North flavor for me, one of my favorite like palate experiences. We'll have a peach Campy Creature released this year called Perfectly Preserved, and it's the mummy from the Campy Creatures art series.
So sick.
What else we got going on? We talked about the mezcal and the pina colada, and I'm hoping that those guys come together first half of June. Mm-hmm. And then it's fundamental season after that, y'all. Yeah. So that's always our big kind of summer tentpole release. I'm hoping to put down the fundamental bottle and maybe one or two complementing variant bottles. Nice. And seeing what we can do for some really, really wild draft experiences. We did a couple of years ago, we did a variant called GTFO, which was gin barrel aged FO. And we were like very pleased with ourselves about how clever our acronyms were. So this year we're trying to do FUBAR, which will be fundamental ube, banana, and raspberry.
Ube.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
Super gnarly. That's so cool.
Get
so
that
we'll
purple
see.
hue.
Right. And again, I'm making no promises. We'll see if that comes together. That's best laid plans.
Let the barrels speak to you.
Yes. And sometimes they need ube, banana, and raspberry.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. If that's what they want. That's what they'll get.
That's what they'll get.
That's
Or
what, yeah.
my special request, Abba Zaba flavor.
Oh,
Do
dude,
it.
I'm super into it.
Do it.
I really
kinda
am
want-
super into that.
I kind of want peanut butter hyper mash.
Ah,
I could live that life
kinda
too.
fun, huh?
We got a lot of ideas here. I like it.
Mm.
the wheels,
interested.
the barrels are talking to us.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
They whisper.
Hopefully nobody turns us in for hearing voices,
Yeah. Well,
right? Hi,
yeah.
guilty as charged.
That's right.
So,
Well,
this has been amazing.
so much
Lindsay.
fun. Thank you so much again.
It is my
Seriously, this is
absolute
like
pleasure,
a
truly.
dream come true. Thank you.
It is. It
Seriously.
really is. We've wanted
Thank
to
you.
do this. We talked about it many times, and this has been so awesome. So thank you so much for having us and
Thanks for making the
sharing
trek.
amazing beverages with us, and sharing the Bottle Logic experience with us and with our listeners. The listeners that we have. God, man, listeners all over the world. It's kind of crazy to see that when I look at
It's
the stats.
amazing.
It is.
Thank
It
you
really
so
is.
much.
Killing it.
It really is.
Totally.
And our new listeners in Argentina, thanks to our Prison Pals
Yes,
friends.
thank you so much.
Absolutely amazing. But definitely come and check out Bottle Logic, Anaheim, California, on Armando, North
Yeah.
Armando,
That's
right? Just north of the 91 freeway. Very easy to get to. If you're coming to experience the House of the Mouse Disneyland, you have to
right.
come over here to Bottle Logic.
Also, check out Windsor Homebrew right across the
Yeah.
street.
Right across the
Super
street.
awesome place.
The unofficial break room of Bottle Logic.
That's
There you
right.
go. There you go. Amazing stuff. So come say hi. If you see Lindsay in the tap room, say hello.
Please do.
That's right.
She's an amazing human being, right?
That's right.
I've never met somebody with so much knowledge on beer. Like it just rolls. You didn't even have to think about it. Sometimes
Right.
we'll talk to people on the show, and sometimes they got to think about it, and you're just like,
Which we understand.
Bam.
Life
That's
is life.
amazing.
Sometimes, we just have
Like
things
say,
we're thinking
do
about.
what you
And that's
love.
totally fine.
you found yourself.
You've been
some
fantastic.
people find themselves jobs, and you found yourself a passion, and
Thank
keep it up.
you.
Keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. Brandon, I think
too,
it's time for Lindsay to meet our grandma.
That's right. And before we meet Grandma, I want to say what's up to my friend Martin right here in the tap room. He's
Oh
my
my
homie, and I want to say,
Okay,
Hello.
talking about
Wanna
things
say
that are
shout
coming
out.
into the future.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
keep stealing your show.
is it going to be,
Dude.
is his
Dude.
dog on the label?
Yes.
Fuck
Okay.
yeah, dude.
So another rabbit
I'm a
hole
pug.
here.
I'm a pug lover
Oh
too.
my God, he's
my
so
baby.
cute.
Shout out to Layla.
So
That's my baby.
we do these we do West Coast IPAs and we rotate the hops through them, and it's just kind of a part of beer Tetris because I'm primarily using those beers to propagate yeast, right?
Yes.
And yeast is the most expensive ingredient in beer. I mean, if you're doing
Yes.
regular beer, not like coconut monster beer.
Totally.
In normal beer making, yeast is your most expensive ingredient. So you need to figure out how to responsibly keep that viable, keep its bell curve of its own life going, and know when you're going to use it to its greatest effect. And so West Coast IPAs help us keep our yeast happy, fed, healthy, and ready to go tackle monster stouts, right? So I need to make these beers, but they're not like hypey, but I need to make them frequently, every month, let's say.
True to
and-
style, cool IPAs.
Yeah. And we find cool hops and they're great beers. They're just not like, people aren't like fucking hyped on them. Sorry, that was my first F-bomb. You can cut that if you want.
I said
that's
I
good.
actually said one before you.
Okay, nailed it.
You're allowed
So
like
you're good.
3.5.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're good. You got
We can get 'em out right now.
in your
It's like a
disposal.
PG-13, right? Okay.
That was more than 3.5, Brandon.
And so in order to differentiate them one from the next so that people out in the market buying cans from shops or whatever know that they're different, because they are different, they're hopped differently, and sometimes have different grain builds, but not super frequently. We wrap them with rad labels of our staff's pets. So individually, we've got like this, it's a cool internal win that we can share with like people who, people are crazy about their pets, right?
Mhm.
And people gravitate towards dogs on a can, and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
totally.
wild, and it helps them sell.
Or kitties.
Or kitties, absolutely. Our brewmaster Wes has
Yeah.
2 cats,
The
and
birthday cake.
Yeah.
My daughter she loves cats, and she saw that in the beer fridge. She said, "Dad, you didn't tell me I have a birthday cake beer," because sometimes she's
Sure.
13, she might take a little sip here and there.
And
And she
Syrah.
loves birthday cake flavor, but
yeah,
that was not the
No,
style that
not
she was
quite
looking for.
it.
But she got excited when she saw the cat in the birthday cake.
for
I was
sure.
talking to Saran, or Saran, correct?
Saren, yeah.
Saran, sorry. Saran. So I was talking to him on Sunday
Abby,
night,
yeah. Abby
and he was
had
talking about
her
Abby.
label.
Yeah, He's like, dude, if you come across some more of those cans, I want them.
Oh, cool.
That's so cute.
So Bruce has a label coming up. Bruce is named after Bruce Wayne, naturally.
Love it.
And this
I asked
this
Martin about that
pug
too.
is like absurdly photogenic and like so like appropriate for his namesake, because I asked people who I'm like, if I'm putting your pet on a label, I need like a bunch of photos so I can find something that works and we can patternize it and make it great, and so we don't have to spend like a jillion hours illustrating it. We can just pluck it and Photoshop it and make it glorious. And so he has this like perfect Gotham Knight Batman sitting like a gargoyle on the edge of a building pose. So we built like the old school comic Batman colors into the label.
Yes.
And he's got like a little bow tie, and the shadow is like the Batman cowl. And you guys, it's just so
sick.
It's so fucking good. That's my second one. I get a half.
I love it. You
I
get
a
yeah.
half more.
Fuck yeah.
There you go.
That was like my 12th. But I remember when I saw those, we got a few at the shop, and I was like, I text Martin, I was like, or Instagram message or whatever. I was like, hey,
you gotta get your boy on here.
I was like, dude, what's up with Bruce? And he was like, hopefully one day, and it's going down. And I'm super excited.
He
Can't
like
wait to talk to
couldn't
him about
believe
it.
that I asked him to do it, and he was like so touched.
Yes.
But it's such a cool thing. Like it's such a really beautiful internal warm fuzzy thing to share with our team, who so deserves.
Oh, pets are
all
our
of their
family.
fun.
Those
you
are their
know?
babies.
Totally.
Yeah.
We've got he's got a pug.
pug,
That's why he
Layla.
loves pugs, and then
Yeah,
I
my
have
baby,
a
I love
boxer
you.
named Latte.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so we love our animals.
Shout out
for
to
sure.
Layla. I love you.
Aw.
Oh.
She's my baby.
Or shout out to my baby, as I call her Shovel Face. She has
Very endearing.
boxers look like they've been hit in the face with a shovel.
well,
It's a face only a mom or dad can love. But I love that dog with her little nub that tries to wag.
Yeah. Aw.
So excited.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So
With that being said,
we're gonna hang out with Grandma.
Grandma's been chilling here patiently, just waiting to partake in the Bottle Logic fun. So here she is. What you got to say, Grandma?
Grandma, again, thank you so much.
Thank you
Bottle
so much, Lindsay.
Logic,
You're awesome.
Anaheim, California.
My
Lindsay, you're
pleasure.
amazing. And here is Grandma. She's been hanging out for a while.
Hi, Grandma.
They also practice by drinking the urine of a ram.
The what?
They drink ram's piss.
Because of the pH balance?
No, because if you can drink ram's piss, fuck, you can drink almost anything.
She said fuck.
Oh, what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunk or quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer! Can't get enough of it. Beer! How we really love it. Beer! Makes me think I'm a man. Beer! I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Fill my belly out to here. Beer! I could not refuse it. I could really use a beer. Beer. I can't remember how much I have had. I drank a 12-pack with my dad.